Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Flank. I'm joined by my friend, my companion, my duo. You guys already know who the fuck it is, guys. It's Ben Janessine. Ben, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Woke up, so I went out last night after the show.
Oh, you went out?
Yeah, I got pretty turned.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
It was pretty mixy last night. And then whilst I was drunk last night, decided to random book a tea time for like 8 in the morning to play today, which was a terrible idea because it rained this morning. So tough. It was a little bit of a struggle this morning. I had a good time. Just playing, just me and a friend.
So you went out, got drunk, and it made a tea time for 8 a.m. Were you still drunk on the fucking tea? He was still drunk.
Well, I wasn't drunk on the tea. I was definitely feeling it though.
Okay, well that's always good. I'm glad. Hey Ben, it's always good to get loose sometimes. Have some fun.
We're enjoying the weekend. Had a good time. Came back. I've been watching COD for what seems like 10 hours now.
That's nice. That's nice.
Watching the U.S. Open. The Euros were pretty lit today. Some other esports stuff going on. So good day, Tom.
Fantastic.
We have a lot. We say this a lot every time on the show, but I think today especially we have a lot of COD to talk about.
Yeah, we do. Today was a long fucking day. And then on top of that, I was at the venue all day today. I was at the event. We were filming videos, and I was talking to some of the players, and I was doing some behind-the-scenes shit. So, I missed a few things here or there because I was a little bit busy. So I know, Ben, you're going to have my back today. We also have ASIM joining us today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a round of applause for ASIM. New York desperately needed this guy this weekend, but he's going to be joining us today on the show. So let's drop away some of the chat. ASIM, how you doing?
Doing good, Tom. Obviously very disappointed that the boys lost today. I mean, I'm glad that they somehow got that win on the board against Florida. I felt like they should have won 5-0. But it sucks, man, seeing them lose. And honestly, like, it just goes to show you, like, I know a lot of people talk about how, like, oh my god, like, it really shows like how much they needed me and all this stuff, and like, yeah, like I know I'm a crucial part to the team, and I know I'm very important, but like I've been saying this all weekend. I think if you take away aBeZy or CleanX off Toronto, you wouldn't see that big of a drastic difference in their gameplay. And I mean, I've been trying to say it all year, Tom. Like, it needs to be a collective thing between everyone to play the dirty work, play the objective, all that sort of stuff to consistently win. Because you see us with the way we play, we do consistently beat teams, but not in a consistent fashion.
Yeah. And Clay was saying the same thing today. I mean, we were talking about it, like, it shouldn't be that drastic of a change when you're gone. And that just goes to show that, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the map. And I see a couple people saying L take, but it's not an L take. I think a lot of teams will rely on a specific player, like 1 or 2 players, to do certain things and to take certain routes and to do unselfish work. But at the end of the day, the best teams have all 4 players doing it, depending on where they're spawning. It's all situational. It's all situational, and I think the best teams figure that out and know that everybody needs to be unselfish. Everybody needs to do the dirty work. And there's a lot of things that go unnoticed. There really is. A lot of people don't know what you do on the map. A lot of people don't know what some of these other players on these other teams do on the map. All they look at is, stats and, kills and, basic shit, right? And even like rotations and shit like that. People don't pay attention to the routes and the comms and the unselfishness, the baiting and the switching. There's so much that goes on in the game of Call of Duty that people have nothing about. And obviously that's what we do on the show, right? We try to educate people a little bit on kind of what's going on. And listen, sometimes people don't agree with our takes, but listen, guys, I've been doing this for a long time. Asen's been doing this for a long time. Ben has been behind the scenes with a lot of these pro players. So a lot of the, I would like to say that I think us and some of these pros that come on and have to speak know a lot about what we're talking about. I think a lot of what we're talking about is the truth and just kind of how it works. We also got fucking Parasite joining us today. Parasite, how you doing today?
Yo, what's good, Tom? What's up, everybody? Rough day for me, challengers, but got to watch a lot of the matches, and it was a really exciting day, man.
I'm sorry to hear that, Chris. I personally didn't watch challenges at all today. I usually do, but today I've been working. I've been at the venue just doing all kinds of shit. But we should get into the matches right away. We got a lot to talk about. We got 5 matches, guys. Today was an absolute banger of a day. I mean, if you're a Call of Duty fan, you got to be happy with this one. We kick things right off with the New York series, right? Get it running, Ben. Start running this shit up.
Yeah,
we kick it off.
we have ASIM here. Asen, want to know your thoughts on this walkout from your boys? 1 from 10.
I mean, honestly, if I was there, I would have backed up Clay and done the Power Ranger one. I love doing like, funny stuff, especially on stage. I mean, that one was like okay,
It was
I
pretty
feel like
funny.
they could have
It
done
was pretty
something
funny.
funnier.
I thought
Yeah.
it was pretty good. There's only
I
so
think
much you could do.
the best ones we've seen was the Dallas Rambo Ray
That
one
was
with
a good one.
the golf.
With the
Yeah,
golf,
that was
yeah.
That was a good
dope,
one.
yeah.
That was definitely a good one for sure.
But
I
yeah,
actually
like-
like that one.
To further what I was saying too, like someone said, Cap, like if Abizi or Cleans were taken off the map, Atlanta and Toronto would still have problems. 100%, I do agree they would still have problems.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying, is New York, especially with how good our hardpoint was previously, they should not be going 0-4 in this weekend, and that's not on Decimate whatsoever. That is on the team. What I'm trying to say to everyone is that everyone as a collective needs to do the dirty work and the objective and all that stuff combined. It can't just solely be on me or solely be on
Bro,
Clay.
this
Like,
was acknowledged from the team. I mean, the New York subliners themselves, the whole team is sitting there talking about this shit. I mean,
you see JP tweeting out, you see Clay say it. Like,
yeah, we're all
it's
talking
something-
about it.
Yeah, it's something that
common
we need
shit.
to address, and I think this weekend was very evident to everyone as to what happened with our team. Like we're definitely gonna use this weekend to learn, and honestly, Tom, it might be a blessing in disguise. Like maybe this shows the whole team that hey, like we need to step it up as a team and not individually if we want to get championships on the
It's
board.
a team game.
Because you've seen in the finals, Toronto and FaZe, when they win collectively together. They all fry together. It's not just a one-man show. Every time you see FaZe win, every time you see Toronto win, it's because all of them are doing good together.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
a
I
simple way to
think-
say that, Asim, is that like you're an enabler for your team, but everybody on all the other top teams like Toronto and FaZe, they all enable each other.
Exactly.
I think that's what your team lacks sometimes.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
about everybody being able to do anything at any given time. That's what makes good Call of
Exactly.
Duty teams, when you have multiple players adapting to the situation. But listen, enough with that, right? We'll go into the series and we'll talk about it a little bit. I personally think New York Subliners threw this first map then.
I mean, I think that New York could have won all 5 of the maps in this series. I think on the Florida side, this is because I want to speak a little bit about them to start off here. I think they're going to take a lot of lessons from this series. I think they had a lot of potential. We're playing well on this stage, but collectively as a team, just we're not playing together in a lot of these maps. I think they got away with this one because of some crazy streaks. Just amazing single plays being made by Big Wake and Neptune on this map.
Yeah, Neptune
But
fried,
legitimately,
man.
New York, I agree with you, should have won this map.
I mean, Neptune, he picked up right where he left off yesterday. I mean, this fucking guy, he's all over the place. He's all over the map. I think the one problem with him is just sometimes he needs to just slow down a little bit. Like sometimes he needs to realize that he needs to play his life. But hey, I'll take it any day of the week. If he's going out dropping numbers at doing the things that he's doing, I mean, I'd rather have him getting a little bit over aggressive sometimes than not getting aggressive at all. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a good problem to have. I think it's always a better problem where you have to slow down rather than have to speed up. You know what I'm saying, Chris?
Yeah, and he's actually gotten a lot better, like in terms of
Oh,
like his
yeah.
COD IQ.
He's
Like
good.
you can tell his pacing's a lot better. He's not just kind of running out. And I don't know about you guys, out of all the players that I thought, like all the young players that haven't really played too many lands, especially on this on COD, I didn't see that Neptune was going to be the best out of all of them. I think Neptune, out of all like the players that hasn't really played land too much, especially in COD, he's probably one of my like best ones, if not maybe like Reese. Reese has been good too, but like everyone else,
That's a
I
good
didn't
point.
see it-
Yeah,
I didn't see it
think
coming.
I thought he would have struggled the most out of all the young players playing on that because of his playstyle. Like I think you've seen all the fast-paced players usually like they like check themselves, especially online, with how like fast you kill and how slow the game like slows down. But Neptune honestly surprised me a lot. I think he had 100 kills and like 70 deaths this series. Like he was putting in work, and not only was he playing fast, but he was very efficient, which we were truly surprised.
100%.
He's a very impactful player. I mean,
Yeah, he is.
The things that he's doing on the map just opens up so many gaps for his team. I mean, it just makes it a lot easier. And it showed. It showed in this series. It showed throughout the weekend. Unfortunately, Florida, their run is over. But they played pretty good. Ben, I know that you disagree. I think you think Florida had a lot of issues this weekend that you kind of wanted to talk about.
Well, I thought Florida looked good in the other series they played. I just think this one they just didn't come out with the team chemistry needs to be able to really like win a series that they should win against a team that has a pickup player. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad loss for Florida. They're a young team. They're going to make champs this year. They have a really good opportunity to kind of use this experience and make that jump in Major 5 and get themselves into the conversation. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom. But I felt like Florida should have played a little better overall in this series.
Yeah, they made a good comeback here in the hard point. They made a good comeback. They were able to flip spawns from that to that P4 hill, or P5 it was, the last hill. They were able to flip and bring this one back and just kind of hold on. They built themselves some streaks as well that they can work off of. But then we go into the next map, the S&D. Listen, one thing I really love about LAN right now is, one, just seeing everybody back on stage is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's honestly unreal.
It's so nice to see people back on stage. It's so nice to see people get up and scream and get passionate and talk shit. And it's just been really fun. It's been really fun, and being at the venue today and just seeing the atmosphere of people getting on stage. And it's just the overall vibe of just walking around the venue and getting ready to play and getting ready to set everything up. It's just a whole different... It's a whole different atmosphere, man, and I'm so happy that we're finally taking steps in the right direction. And listen, man, I think soon enough we're gonna have some fans back in the fucking building, because that's what we need,
man.
We need you guys back in there fucking going crazy, because you guys are everything. You guys are the energy. You guys are the backing behind Call of Duty. So we need you guys in there. So that's the next step, is to get everything going. But we go into a Moscow S&D, and Florida, they struggled in this one, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, they actually kind of won some crazy rounds. I kind of want to watch the first one, and then I want to watch the fourth round, because Neptune had a pretty good kill in that round. But other than that, New York played really well in most of these rounds. We'll kind of watch round 5 after this. We'll watch these 2 back-to-back rounds and watch the last round. I just thought overall from New York, big improvement in the S&D from yesterday. I think that was a big reason why they looked so good in this series. I mean, very surprising for them to take 2 S&Ds against Florida.
I mean, let's just say how it is. My fucking guy Hydra went the fuck off this map.
Yeah.
I think he had 17 kills. He had 17 actual kills. I don't know what he had, IKEA, or what do you say, EKIA or IKEA?
EKIA.
I don't know what the kids they say these days. But fucking IKEA, this fucking guy, he was going off. And listen, man, I think Paco, you know, it was his first time on the big stage, right? And after the loss today, he was very hard on himself, just walking with his head down, and he just looked really upset. So, you know, I talked to him, and I was telling him, listen, man, a lot of young guys, they come onto this big stage and they never perform as good as they want. It's a different atmosphere. It's hard to get used to it sometimes. You're in a different place. You're on a different monitor in a different sea, and then the game feels a little bit different, and the comms sound different. Everything sounds different in your ear. Like, it takes time sometimes to get the feel of it all.
Facts.
And I told him, I said, you know, kid, you got to keep your head up, because you know, I watch you play, and you know, your potential is through the roof. Your potential is insane. Just the way you move around the map, the way you challenge gunfights, and some of the things you were doing. You know, you can't be too hard on yourself. And one thing I told him is, you got to get used to losing, because you can't win everything. You can't. You need to know how to take losses. You need to know how to take that shit on the chin, keep your head up, and learn from it. You know, you can't let it destroy you, and you can't let it ruin your confidence. So I just want to give a shout out to Hydra, because, you know, it was his first time playing on the big stage, and, you know, he had some great moments. And I think Hydra knows that he could have played better himself, but I think everybody from the New York squad thinks they could have played a little bit better. But they were in a tough situation. So Hydra, if you're watching, keep your fucking head up, keep fucking pushing that gas pedal down, because you are a fucking unit, and it's been an absolute pleasure watching you play so far this year. And as well as all the other guys on New York, and shout out to Florida as well, because they got a lot of new guys who came, right? You got Awakening, you got Neptune, they're making their LAN debuts here in COD, and they made some names for themselves too. I think they played really well, and I think that they showed that, you know, online LAN, that's all a bunch of fucking fugays. And I saw Maven and Octane talking about it a little bit. And listen, Maven was saying the same thing. He thinks this whole online to LAN thing is dragged. You know, sometimes he thinks people drag it a little bit. I'm not saying there's no difference, guys. And I definitely think there's some outliers. And I definitely think some players are better on LAN, vice versa, whatever. But I don't think any of the results this weekend have been a surprise. And I don't know if you guys agree or disagree.
Not entirely. I agree with you. I think, like I said, like you were saying, it always just comes down to the individual player. I think certain individuals get better, but unless you have multiple of those individuals that might not like improve or feel like they get worse on LAN, you don't really ever see any changes in the results of a team.
But I don't know, Chris, do you think that it's just people are legit, like Octane, right? Do you think Octane is just better on LAN, or do you think he mentally just fucks himself online and just, like, you know, mentally he just can't get into a rhythm? because he knows it's online. And
I think it could be a bit of both, man. Like honestly, because yeah, I'm sure that the league's taking steps with the servers and stuff like that to make things a little bit fair. So it's not as bad as it was back in the day, right? When we were playing on, like, we had people on the West Coast with cable pinging 100 in scrims and all that stuff. So it's definitely not as bad, and it's probably more mental than it is now. But you know, there's still always going to be a difference. It could be the atmosphere, it could be the mental whole thing, who knows.
Yeah, and listen, I see somebody saying I called it. I'm not even trying to be like, I'm that guy, I called it. I don't give a fuck. I'm just saying, hey, it's been like that for years, guys. I mean, I've been in the COD scene for a decade, and it's always been like that, where the top teams online are the top teams on LAN. It just never changes. That's why I was very confident in saying that and having arguments with people about that, because like it's just the history repeats itself,
The one thing I will say, it's more so for the vets, man. Like being a veteran, like even just like myself, right? I'm like playing at home, like after a while, especially for how long we've been out of commission, it drains you, man.
Yeah,
like,
no, it is.
The LAN, the whole back to LAN stuff, it like revitalizes a lot of players' passions, and I think that's like one of the main aspects in terms of why you see some of these other players, stepping up.
Yeah, no, 100%.
My only counter to that is I would agree with that if it was a short-term period, but players have had about a year now to adjust to playing at home. And I don't see that. Like I understand kind of Octane's like kind of POV in that argument, but I do think like there is a little bit of responsibility on players to have even in the season switch over to like mentally prepare yourself for what is going to be a pretty heavy grind online.
No, I completely agree with you, Ben. It's more so that like some of the stuff like is unavoidable, like especially with the whole COVID aspect. Like obviously if this online stuff happened and COVID wasn't a thing, like it would have been a lot easier for people to get out, have better social lives and stuff like that. But with COVID and stuff like that, not only are you sitting there playing online, you were like obviously secluded. Like you didn't have really much time to kind of get out and for some of these players relieve some stress and hang out with their friends and stuff like that.
It's important to live.
Exactly.
People don't understand, like, bro, when you're locked up, like fucking looking at a screen and you're going through a cycle and you're fucking eating unhealthy and you're fucking listen. That's on a lot of gamers as well, because a lot of them are just like, they could be getting out, go to the gym, do this, do that, but like a lot of them, I don't have any excuse for that. But listen, if you want to be the best, you got to put in the time, and that's where I think a lot of players, they're so stressed about performing, they're so stressed about keeping their spot, they want to win, and the passion comes in, and then that's for me, that's where I struggled. Like I just couldn't get off. Like I just felt like I needed to keep playing in order to beat the best. You know what I'm saying? And it's not always like that. Quality over quantity. And I think that was my biggest mistake over competing 100%. So many years is sometimes I would play too much and I would look myself in the mirror and I looked like I was fucking sick. I had dark eyes, like I just looked like I looked terrible. You could just tell that I wasn't sleeping or I was just stressing and shit.
Ben, so if you have anything to point out on this map, pause the video. Because we're
I'm letting it play out. We'll get there.
We'll talk about it. Listen, we got 5 series to talk about. Like we're gonna try and get through these first couple as quick as possible. We got a lot of series to talk about.
The one thing the only thing I wanted to say about like the whole like online thing, because I've been playing in the online league like the last 2 years, is like I think last year was kind of it was very hard. It was more like how screwed up like the servers were and how people were playing on host. But I think the CDL has made absolute strides this year, and I do agree with what Tom said. I think it's a lot more mental this year than it was last year. I think the servers and all that stuff has been super free or super fair, and I think like obviously there's a big difference going into LAN, but like Tom has been saying it all week long, like the teams that you see that are going to Championship Sunday are the teams that you were going to see.
It never changes. It never changes. It's always the same year after year. It's always
It's always at the top level that it never changes. At the bottom level, that's when you kind of see these weird results sometimes. But most of the time,
with some few, like some few variables. Like I think Slash is a lot better on LAN. I think Octane's a lot better on LAN. Like there's certain players that I think are just better. And
Prim looked a lot better on LAN.
Prim looked a lot better. A lot of the vets, right? Like those AR veteran players that like to play their angles and play their pre-aims, and there's different play styles that work better. But in terms of like who's at the top and who's at the bottom, it's very minimal. It's very little.
Of course.
But let's get back into the map, right? New York, they're trying to work some stacks here on control.
Well, I want to drag it back a little bit, Tom. I thought, going back to my earlier point about how I felt Florida played, like I feel like they got in trouble in this map because they basically don't really have a plan as a team on how they want to attack the situation. It's super mixy. They get these laundry spawns, and look in the next like 15 or 20 seconds.
They play so loose, Ben.
Where everybody is for floor on the map. There's not a lot of people playing off each other. Everyone on the team is hitting routes. It's just absolute
look
chaos.
At this. One guy's an art, one guy's DK,
one guy plays.
You want to know who that's credit to?
You
want to know who that's credit to? Number 4, because I'm fairly sure they got information that number 4 was pushed up around Kitchener money earlier, and they just didn't know how to deal with them because obviously the point's not being ticked at B, so they know this guy's just camping in there, but they're spawning A and there's players attacking A, and I think what Mac was doing, just like kind of staying alive in there, being a nuisance, not really giving away his position, is honestly probably what caused a lot of that confusion. Because me as a player, when that happens and a guy gets in your kitchen, but B and A are still not like being fought, it kind of confuses you. Like, what should I do as a player? Do I wrap basketball? Do I flood this guy out kitchen? I have players at A. Like, I think what Mac was going nuts right here, by the way. Like, he obviously went really nuts on this round.
He did his thing.
He had a really good, he had a solid round. But like, that's credit to him, in all honesty, that caused that confusion.
But to further, like obviously in that situation, that's the explanation. But I mean, I feel like we talked about this before, Tommy. But like, I feel like the reason why Florida is so loose, and they were too, like in the beginning of the Modern Warfare year, and they were like a little bit towards the later half, but I give that tribute to Pharaoh. I felt like ever since they picked up Pharaoh in Modern Warfare, he really kept that team like
on
a place, on the same page and on the same mindset. And ever since losing him this year, it's been very evident that they play very loose, like, and very unorthodox than other teams.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's a learning experience for them, ASIM. They're gonna go back and watch the series and be like, we know we're close. We know that we have the individual talent to beat some of these teams. If we can just get on the same page, we're going to have some crazy series on LAN and not have Clay yelling at us across the stage.
Yeah, I mean, hey, bro, I love, listen, people can say whatever they want about Clay. You know, I see a lot of people saying, you know, people are like, first of all, Florida. Not even that. I'm just saying, you know, people like to say certain things about, like, Clay and his passion and emotion, and people think he's annoying. And, you know, I saw somebody call him a man-child. But listen, he's passionate and he cares and he brings a lot of energy, and I think someone who's played the game, I admire that. I admire somebody that puts everything they got into it, and you know, he's not afraid to fucking speak up for himself and talk shit across the stage, especially if people are yapping at him. And then on top of that, you had the referee yapping and fucking filming Clay today and saying, oh, this guy's raging. Look at him.
That's what made COD great in the first place, man. Like, at the end of the day, we're playing a competition, and that should be everyone's priority. But showmanship is an incredible thing for our sport, and it's literally something that we built our community off of. The reason why we have all these, you know, huge Twitter followings and stuff like that was because of the showmanship and the drama and the shit talking and stuff like that. Obviously, it's a lot more toned down now.
Why do you think this show exists?
Yeah, exactly. There's a place for it, and I don't think that Clay most of the time is you know, out of line in that sense.
Listen,
man.
Sometimes Clay can go over the top, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's a little fucking crazy, you know. Clay, he likes to fucking go nuts. But what are you gonna do? You know, I'd rather have him go nuts than not do anything at all. I mean, he's there entertaining people.
Tom, sometimes it works, and then sometimes, you remember the time in Anaheim when we went down 0-2 when he talked smack? Do you want to let everybody know what happened the next 3 maps?
We lost. We lost.
No, we won. What are you talking about?
What do you mean? You just said we went down 0-2.
Yeah, he was on United.
I thought you were talking about on FaZe.
No, it's the Black Ops.
Because there was times on FaZe where we were up 2-0 and Clay would fucking get up and start screaming like a fucking idiot, and then we would lose, you know, and then the other team would stand.
The other side of it too.
You know, there's 2 sides to it. You know, it's gone back and forth. You know, and I remember Ian and Abel used to say to Clay, like, Clay, can you calm the fuck down? You're making us fucking. You're giving us the fucking. You're making these guys go 10 times harder when you stand up and start acting like a fucking asshole. But listen, it was all good fun.
Honestly, my favorite part today, Tom, is if you go back, I screenshotted it and made a joke on Twitter. If you go back, that picture of Clay yelling, you can look at Hydra and he's just looking at Clay laughing. I thought that was really funny.
Paco, listen, man, he definitely
in the mix.
Yeah, he was enjoying himself. He was enjoying himself, and I think that's important. I see a lot of people talking about the referee, kind of what happened. If those of you who didn't see, Clay actually tweeted out today that the referee was, after the match, was recording him, and obviously Clay was very frustrated because they had just lost, and the referee was mumbling like he's raging, like, I got it all on film, whatever. Like, he was, you know, he was kind of mocking him a little bit, you know, like mocking him, making him like Clay some fucking asshole or something. So Clay looked at the camera guy and said, fuck you. You know, he said, fuck you. And then, you know, a lot of people were coming at Clay or saying weird shit for that, but I'm on Clay's side here.
Yeah, I would have said that same shit.
I'm on, and listen, I know the league didn't like it either. You know, the CDO didn't like it. Listen, these referees got to be accountable, because if the players get
ref shouldn't be doing that.
the ref,
Yeah, it wasn't a ref. It was a cameraman, right? I think that's what.
No,
we were
I don't think it was
saying.
a ref. I believe it was a.
it was a
Yeah, it was just like
cameraman.
a
Yeah,
professional.
it was a cameraman. With all due respect, cameraman, you're a fucking prick. Go fuck yourself, bitch.
Yeah, you can film him and shit. Just stop. Don't say anything.
Yeah,
Like what?
don't-
Guy's commenting on his.
I mean, it just goes to show that the cameramen are out there trying to make people look bad. They're trying to fucking get people while they're down, you know? They're trying to fucking pick their emotions and get it all on camera. And listen, I'm all for it, but don't say anything stupid, you know, especially in the heat of the moment. And then, you know, Clay says something and people are going to come at Clay because now Clay looks like a fucking asshole and they don't know the whole story. So that's why Clay's always coming out having to fucking defend himself, because people got to hear the whole story, you know? But what are you going to fucking do? Sometimes people are a bunch of fucking assholes. and you can't do
Cameramen
anything
are the
about it.
storytellers, and let the casters be the fucking narrators. If you're a cameraman, you should not be fucking narrating the fucking smash.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's get back to this map.
Yeah.
Let's start from here. So New York was down a lot. They managed to get back in this map, and this Street Hill. I think there's a lot for us to break down that happens here. I think again, from New York's POV, I think they'll think that they kind of threw this and they were in sort of a prime position to complete this comeback and end the series with a 3-1 victory.
They definitely trolled a little bit. But I think Florida did a good job clutching up. Wait, Florida won this map, correct? Yeah, they won this
Florida
map.
won this map,
Been
yeah.
a long fucking day, guys. I'm losing my
I like
fucking
this
mind.
route that
sometimes.
Cole took, even though he got caught. He might have got sound.
Oh yeah, we were 0-4 in hardpoint. What the fuck am I saying? Fucking yeah. I mean, I thought we blew streaks a little bit. I don't know if I really agree with the way we used our streaks. But I think right here, we just can't let anything happen. We can't let anything stupid happen right
I feel
here.
like Mac should have streaked right away, and then that way they can push out Street and like spawn them super deep. Instead, he held on to it.
I mean, we win
the
here.
worst time.
Like, we win here. Like, he's in
Yeah.
the bus. They're all spawning out. Just drop the streak. Get all this time. And instead of fucking winning here, we kept getting off the hill. We kept being weird with it. Like, we blew it. We fucking blew it. We had to win it there. We got a clean 4 dead. We should have been pushing out cuts. He should have been holding the bus and having the guy on hill stay down. And somehow we went down. I'm not really too sure what happened. And then at the end of this map, things got really mixy. And this is where...
I want to ask your opinion, Tom. So Matt calls in these streaks, and then he gets out of the hill. Like, from your POV, like, I know this ends up being kind of sometimes a 50-50 play, like, into the group as well. Do you think that was a good play from Mac? Do you think he should have held time and maybe tried to push out Street?
They should have won off
They
that.
should have
If he
won
stayed
off
on-
that.
If he stayed on it, they win. No.
Yeah. They should. He should have stayed on it, I think. Or I don't even know how to
Am I
fuck.
fading? Never mind. I'm baked.
Did somebody
12,
get?
11.
Did somebody
Yeah,
get?
one
No, I'm baked. I'm baked.
No, go back before that. Go back. Go back before that. Right here. Play right here. Play right here. So right now, all in New York is on time. And I want to see what happens, because it's hard to break down. Skies tries to pinch it behind. He dies. A guy tries to contest to the front.
JT
We end
dies
up
in
dying.
hill.
One of us needs to get on the fucking hill here. We finally get on the hill. Mac decides to streak. I personally think Mac should have streaked earlier. I think he should have
streaked to like 40 seconds when they go bust, and that way they get pushed out.
He should have streaked earlier.
Yeah.
He should have got the streak control. We would have been able to push out cuts or whatever. But that's not even the most of it. All right, it gets worse. Now, this play was very questionable. A lot of people agreed with Clay's play. A lot of people disagreed. Some people in the pro lounge were like, what is Clay doing? I personally didn't mind the play. I didn't mind it. So Clay, he decides to take a super long route with an AR here. And the reason why he's doing that, so if you pause the game, Ben, this is why I think Clay made a good play, personally. And I know people are going to disagree. We were watching it with some of the FaZe guys at the venue, and they thought it was a kind of fugazi play. But listen, right now, Florida, they know that they have the good spawns for that next hill. So they're not going to try and push on a contest. They're going to hold. So Clay's like, listen, if we just don't challenge and stay alive, and you guys allow me to take this route, I could come in from behind and shoot them all in the back, and we can win the game right now. You guys just need to stay alive and make sure you don't challenge. So continue to play it, Ben. As Clay's coming around this corner, Decimate chows. Decimate slides out. He chows. We end up getting pinched. Clay ends up getting a kill, but it's too late. You know, Florida, they make their play on the hill, and they end up dying. So a lot of people were like, Clay should have done that, or should Clay have just
I
flooded?
think maybe Hydra should have done it because he was there with them. But
right.
also on top of
Here's
that,
what-
there's a really unfortunate scenario with number 5.
Yeah, I was about to say number 4 and number 5 get weird timing. So I understand Clay's POV. You know though that like Havoc's gonna make this play like a lot on
He
this
does
hill.
it all the time. He always does.
He does it all the
shit.
time. And if Mac had come around the corner again, timings matter. If Mac had come around the corner earlier here and shot Havoc in the back, then they probably win this because they have nobody to really gun him straight because they have 2 guys on the plat. Clay probably shoots him in the back because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then this map's over. So I don't think it's a terrible play from Clay. It's just a mixy situation where it came down to a couple of insane timings.
Yeah, because put it this way, if Clay doesn't make that play and he goes towards escalators, at that point they're double, triple stacked on hill, right? And they do have that one-player street. However, that one-player street isn't going to like completely make that entire roster turn. And if that guy didn't hit gold, he would have probably been playing for him, and that would have been a 1v1. So it probably would have came down to that 1v1 if they had to get an opening to push. But if they would have just stacked onto the hill, then and Florida didn't push, they would have been screwed anyways. They wouldn't have had rotation to P2. So like they had to make a play, whether it was pushing through the hill and trying to outflood them and outtrade them at disadvantageous positions, or what he made. But it was just unfortunate they countered it.
And that's why you see the frustrations from Decimate and Clay. They were talking about it as well after the match, and I was talking a little bit to Clay outside. I personally like to play Clay did, but it was unfortunate with the timing that they got with Havoc, right? That number 5 going around, Decimate Child. It was just a big clusterfuck, but I don't think Clay should be taking a route with an AR. Like, maybe Paco should have took the route. Yeah. But I think regardless, like, I think the ideas were there. They just didn't execute them, right? They just didn't execute them correctly. But they end up losing a map, and then we go into a game number 5. And now I'm like, fuck, Maron. What the fuck's going on?
This is the round. I think this is the round that wins the series right here. You bring JT on because he's got that prowess in S&D. He's obviously really good at respawn.
Yeah.
And he makes the play here, man, in a round where Neptune gets 3 kills. Decimate replies back, and all the momentum after this is on New York side.
Yeah,
he
flips the momentum. I mean, Neptune needed help on this map. Neptune was trying to do it all. He was the only one positive. He had fucking double-digit kills. I mean, he was doing everything. He was doing fucking everything. I saw him after the series. He looked upset. You know, I felt bad for the kid because he played his heart out. But Decimate, he completely flipped the fucking momentum, like Ben just said. He flipped the momentum. He was able to find a 1v3 clutch, and I honestly love the way he played it. He played it really good. I like the way he used his tag, so we're going to see it now. Florida, they decided to go for a B rush. You see New York, they got Florida pinned on that site, so they're trying to figure out the best way to collapse here. I think if I remember correctly, Clay, he makes a play here. He picks up a blood, but Neptune's able to find 2. Again, Neptune, he slides on in. He finds a big 2-piece, so good plays out of him. Actually gets a 3. He guns Hydra here. So now Decimate, he's left in a 1v3 situation. Florida had to get this bomb down. I personally don't think Florida played this well, though. Neptune shouldn't have went into ticket booth by himself. He should have just got the bomb down on the backside and just forced Decimate to push. Or
Yeah,
just wait. Or just wait,
100%.
you know? But now Decimate, he's able to make it a 1v2, like, super quickly, right? Decimate, he makes a play towards middle. Again, Havoc, he plants where he could be seen from Decimate, who was just seen middle. I don't know if maybe he thought that he wrapped or something, but I don't know if that's the best time to get the bomb down. So he gets shot off the bomb, and that's a 1v1. Decimate has the high ground. He takes a ledge slide off the fucking top. Bada bing, bada boom. He clutches it up. The hype, the energy comes in from New York, and that's exactly what they needed. That's exactly what they needed, especially after losing the first round.
The only way JT clutches that, because in a 1v3, if they get the bomb down, especially down here, and you have a sub, you're probably losing it. The only way he clutches that is if he bum rushes the bomb site, and that's exactly what he did. He jumped in a ticket booth, went for the guy on the bomb, but he caught a free kill, an isolated kill, mind you, because no one can help you in ticket booth on Caesar. And that's like the whole catalyst of it, and then obviously just more and more blunders happen.
Yeah, just more and more blunders. And Ben, you can fast forward through the rest of this. You know, we got a lot of matches to talk about, so I want to get this shit on the move. But Decimate ends up going on a little bit of a streak this map. He picks up some streaks. I mean, New York just do a good job controlling everything. I mean, every single round, they just seemed like they had map control. They seemed like their trades were on point. They were catching Florida off guard a little bit. Florida started winning some matches, but you can see it on the scoreboard. Neptune's 10-5. The rest of them are negative. You got Skies at 2-5. You got fucking Awakening and Havoc negative as well. You know, what are you gonna do? You know, the kid played good. But good play by New York to come out and win a series today. I think it was great for them to come out and win a series, even with a pickup. And you know, just so that they're still a top team, right? That they're still a good team. They're still here competing.
The points are really important too. For them to come out and win one series is super key.
I think the main frustration from the New York camp right now is just the seed. You know, like you feel like you have a second seed going into champs, and you know all this fucking fugazi happens with the fucking visa, and all of a sudden, you know, we can't get our team here. It's just like, it's fucking nuts. I see a lot of people going crazy in the chat right now about Kevin Durant. Did he just do some fucking nuts?
He just hit his game tired. There's 1 second left in the game there, but go ahead.
Fucking Kevin Durant, he's a fucking legend. In my opinion, the best player in the NBA right now, and it's not even close. But yeah, we'll go back to the game. Fucking New York were able to close out this series, and kudos to them for taking a W today. And I thought going into the Dallas series they had a chance, but we'll talk about that later. But Ben, let's move on to the next one, unless you have any more final thoughts.
No, I think that's it. Florida's got a lot to work on, and for New York, couldn't go to this event and get double rounded. That would suck. They managed to grab one in the bounce and keep their hopes alive.
The one thing I will say before we move on to this next series, the one thing I've always liked about Florida is that loose play style translates into like all of them being active on the map. And like when you guys were talking about how like New York has times where like they rely so heavily on ASIM, I think that one thing that is good about Florida is that they all aren't scared to make plays and take routes and take initiative. I guess just take initiative, right? And I think that plays into their strengths. However, once again, they do need to be able to come together in those hectic scenarios and not just obviously all try to make plays and stuff like that.
Yep, 100%. Good point, Chris. Let's get a Waggy in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Show him some love. But then we go on to the next series, guys, and this is another banger. You got Seattle going up against Optic Chicago. You know that Seattle, they came out on land and they looked like a way better team. They came out, they were 2-0 on the weekend. They were going into this Optic series with some confidence, some momentum. Listen, I saw these guys in the venue and their spirits were high. Their spirits are really high, and they were really excited for this match. And on the other side, you had Optic Chicago, which in my opinion have been struggling as of late. And the reason why, again, and it was the same thing with Dallas, that I have been so hard on these guys is because I think they're a really good team. And I think they have a lot of potential to be one of the best, if not the best. They just need to keep working on it and keep improving on a lot of their mistakes. And I know Parasite had some choice words to say about them too. And I think Optic today, they had a different look to them. This series got really close.
What did I say, Tom, yesterday?
You said you want to see Formal pick it up.
Yeah.
You want to,
yeah,
you know,
what happened? Look at him.
He picked it up and he went off. You know, and listen, you said that, and a lot of people were spamming laggies or saying stupid shit, but listen, it's true. You know, these are superstar players, and you know, we say these certain things because we see a lot of potential in them. So I personally think that they still have more in the tank. I'm still not very impressed yet. I want to see more from them just because, you know, I think these are teams they should be beating. And Ben, I think you would agree.
Well, I agree with that take.
Yep, same.
And somebody in the chat said, Zuma, you've never been hard on Optic. I don't know what the hell, why people keep saying that. Again, guys, I'm not going to come out and just be a fucking asshole. But at the same time, like, I feel like for the most part, I try to be as realistic as possible. I mean, I say what I think is a problem with Optic all the time, you know, like I just say it how it is. So if you agree or disagree with my opinions, then what are you going to do? All right, go fuck yourself. Ben, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk a couple times about checkmate hardpoint and vetoes. I didn't mind this map got through from Seattle because the last time they played Optic on it was very close, and you could argue that Seattle should have won that map. So I didn't mind it. And then on the flip side for Optic, I'm seeing a few people asking like 8 pockets up in this series. It's because Optic's got that auto veto and hardpoint, so you know that map's going to be dangled, and Seattle's pretty good at it, and it is what it is. Both teams get their best hardpoint maps, and it ends up being a wash.
I'm back, guys. I'm back.
Oh, you're good, Ace. What were you watching the basketball game?
I had to see Kevin Durant pull up greatness, bro.
Yeah, I see a lot of people talking about it in the chat. No, don't be sorry. I mean, I want to watch it too. You know, a lot of people are going crazy right now.
I mean, he's making history now. He's got the most points ever in a Game 7 in NBA history.
I mean, he's gross. What are they going into overtime now?
Yeah, overtime into OT.
Did he also have like a historical stat line like in the last game?
Yeah,
he did. Yeah.
He did. Yeah. Listen, man, hey, keep me updated on this fucking shit. I always talk about this match. But listen, Optic, they came out to play in this first map, and I saw a big difference with them today. Just the way they work off each other. It looked like they had more of a plan on the map. It just looked like they had more priorities. It looked like they were working off each other.
I mean, you got to think, Tom, they're 10-1 in this map all year long. When will people learn to veto it?
Seattle fucked up. They say, you know what, we're going to big dick them. Maybe Seattle thought that they were good at the map as well, but not good enough because Optic, they came out and they made it look easy. There wasn't much to talk about in terms of just Optic just staying ahead of rotations. They were winning a lot of fights. They were making a lot of individual plays. And that's something you expect from the Optic guys. But then we go into an S&D. It's an Express S&D. And this one got a little bit mixy, Ben.
Yeah, Seattle came up just short at the end. This actually is Seattle's best S&D map, I think, right, Isim?
Yeah, statistically, I think it is.
Yeah. They've been pretty good this map, and they kept it close. It was actually kind of a game of runs. Chicago kind of went up 5-2, and then Seattle sort of battled back to make it pretty close. In this round in particular, I think Sam went absolutely huge.
Yeah,
so
this is
right
when he
here,
picked the piece down low.
I just think overall my takeaway from the sort of watching Seattle play is I just beyond the individual performances sort of stepping up, especially from the ARs at this LAN. I just think their teamwork's also way better than it was in the previous iterations of this team, and that's what's making them more competitive. I think bringing on Classic has helped sort of normalize the system that they have, and it allows those ARs to really excel and be able to roam and play their power positions.
I still want to give a big shout out to Pierce, because even on their old iterations of every team, Pierce has been their leader. Pierce is the one that groups up the team. Pierce is the one that's always making sure that things aren't open and stuff like that. And you hear it in every single one they're listening. So just want to show some love to that guy, because he's got a tough job and he's been doing a good job of it.
A lot of people have came at Big P in the past, right, about his attitude or him just being a little bit too crazy or yelling and shit like that. But hey, one thing about Big P is he is a winner. He's won multiple times in COD. He's MVP. This guy knows how to play COD, and he's a very good player. He's been playing COD for a really long time, and he's been doing really, really well. So he's a good person to listen to if you're alongside him on stage. But yeah, this one,
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Asim. Go ahead.
The one thing I was gonna say was Merc brought up a good point. Like even with Gunless's performances, like there's time in the past like 4 or 5 years in COD where like you consider Big P as one of the best Call of Duties like of all, or in that certain moment. Like you've seen it in IW, you've seen it in all these other games. Like Gunless like puts up crazy numbers when he's trying, especially on LAN. So yeah,
he's a fucking animal. He's a fucking beast. Listen, I don't know what Seattle could have done differently in this map, to be honest. I think it was good that Optic went up 2-0, but it definitely got close. But I don't remember. Does this go to around 11? It doesn't, right?
It ends right here, yeah.
So Optic, they end up going with a straight B hit. They just 4 rush the bomb. Listen, I feel like the plays that work the most in S&D are the ones where you just don't hesitate and just commit. Honestly, in every game mode. Even with FaZe, right? When we were just watching that Moscow hardpoint when they didn't commit to that break, I was like, it's gonna cost them, and it costed them. So I think the main thing is just balls to the wall. If you're gonna do something, do something. I like how Octane played for that first blood. I think he found himself a little bit of an off angle there, but then he chows. He just over chows, and then Envoy was able to get a trade. And listen, if Seattle gets that blood, I think Sam just needs to do everything he can to stay down, and then his teammates need to come help him, and then just use your numbers to push out. Nick tries to go a little bit rogue, but at this point they just fall into the Optic blender, and Formal, he picks up a big 2-piece to bring these guys up 2-0. And listen, they go up 2-0. Optic's hyped. Everything's all good. Bada bing, bada boom. Next thing you know, we're going game 5. So Seattle, they end up bringing this one back. We go into a checkmate control. And Optic, they were able to come out the first round and win an offense.
No, they traded defenses. Then Seattle wins the 3rd round offense. Chicago wins the 4th round offense, and then Seattle closes out on D. I was actually really surprised that Seattle won this map, to be honest.
Why?
Well, especially after the momentum swung around 4, because Seattle got absolutely mollywopped at the end of that. I felt like Optic was going to have all the momentum. And then Seattle just stayed composed on defense. They did a really good job of holding the spawn trap. Overall, again, just really good cohesive teamwork from Seattle. Tom, do you know that Seattle's won with this win? They had won 5 controls in a row.
Well, that's good.
For a team that we were roasting about the control play earlier this year.
Well, listen, I'm happy that they won this control because they had fucking 25,000 streaks. And I remember watching this in a fucking pro lounge with the FaZe guys, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, here comes another one! Here comes another streak!" And they just kept dropping the fucking streaks like flies. I think it was Maven who said in the middle of the map, he's like, "Just bomb the whole fucking map! Just bomb the whole map!" And I was like, dude, like, I just don't understand how they haven't closed this one out, but they end up getting it done. They go on some streaks. I think Pristini had a good job, did a good job just getting in the base, getting Mixy, just being a nuisance on the map. They do a good. Seattle does a good job just getting on those points, forcing Optic to make plays, and that's what you have to do when you're on offense. You need to get Optic out of their comfort zone. You got to force them to make plays, get them out of those spots, and try and pick up kills where you could stack points and get that point ticking. You know what I'm saying, Ben?
100%.
Yeah, I'm sure Asim can speak to it too, but I know that one of the issues for Seattle earlier this year was comms, and I think Asim, you've talked a lot on this show about how checkmate hardpoint, checkmate control come down to a lot of communication, especially under plane. So I wonder again that Nick move has really sort of helped bring another voice into their comms to sort of help with some of the mixy situations that may happen on this map.
No, yeah, I think what teams struggle with, especially on checkmate control, is they don't know when to stack. Like, I think you've seen it with Optic too, where they get a wave of kills and instead of stacking, they try to go for the spawn trap. And I mean, we struggle with it too. It's just really hard in the heat of the moment to recognize when you're supposed to stack and when you're not. And I think a lot of teams are getting a little bit better at it, but it's been a couple months where it took a lot of time for people to learn.
Yeah, on top of that, on checkmate control in general, like I think the thing that teams struggle with the most is just understanding how to like fill lanes on that map. Because a lot of the time there's just moments in the game where you can't get top lane, you can't get bottom lane, you can't get all these things. So like players on some of these points need to be able to like almost like line of sight some of the like top or bottom lanes, mid, and adapt their setups on points and stuff like that, and almost like just take what they give you. Don't try to force stuff. Make them come out onto points and stuff like that, rather than let's just headbutt plane, headbutt plane, headbutt plane, headbutt plane. And when you're on the offense, that's when you're going to have the most success. Is when you get these makeshift setups on some of these points, right? And make the players in plane, make the players in the bottom plane, make the moves on you, rather than you consistently trying to push and push and push.
Yep. I think this round, when we went into an overtime here, I think Classic played this round phenomenal. This guy pushed up this A street. He was dipping and weaving. He was constantly changing his corners, constantly changing his position, and he was picking up kills after kill after kill. He ended up picking up streaks at the end of the game. He picked up streaks. They couldn't kill him, and they couldn't find an answer. And all the time he was doing staying alive was just time being wasted, and he just drained the lives, he drained the time, and he won the round for Seattle. I think he had some help from the plane, and some people were looking over him, but he was popping so many pieces and just being such a nuisance that he pretty much just closed out this game by himself. So big shout out to Nicky D, aka Nicola, aka Classic. This fucking guy turned the fuck up.
That was actually perfect right there. I just
it was
watched the
great
entire
plays.
segment. Yeah,
it was great plays out of him, and he got really hyped after the fact. And then, I was very intrigued to see that we were going into an Apocalypse hardpoint for map number 4, Ben.
Yeah, and this is another game of runs. It was pretty even after the first rotation. I'm going to actually skip ahead, guys, to the second rotation, because this is where, again, we talked about earlier in this map, earlier in the show, that Seattle is very good at APOC, and it was sort of a wash in the hard points. Just from here, the way Seattle does a really good job at the end of this P1, in the P2, P3, P4, they basically go on a run here. Optic basically, they only get another like
Seattle breaks
50 or 60 points, and Seattle basically gets most of the time in the next couple of hills. Really good streak usage here from Gunless.
Yeah, but they let it go right here. Optic needs to hold this, even with the streaks coming in. Big P, he's able to find one with the streak. He wins a big 2-piece in the front. He comes in, it allows his teammates to come. Like, Optic just can't die there. I know the streaks come in, but they can't challenge Big P. They gotta let Big P challenge them. Like they're challenging him and they're dying, but all they need to do is just play tight and hold some crossfires. And next thing you know, Seattle's breaking on in, and they're getting the rest of this 30, and they end up taking the lead.
This could have been a scenario where Optic pushes away from the point and lets Seattle take control front and fights them and keeps the point neutral. But they tried way too hard to maintain control when the streak was coming in, which just made them basically get flipped. And Seattle came back and tied it.
I just feel like Optic couldn't hold. I just felt like there was a few hills on this map where Optic was struggling to hold their setups. And that's where you got to give credit, I guess, to Seattle, right? Because they found out how to break down their setup. I think Optic will go back and definitely learn a lot from this map. I'm sure they'll go back and review some of the mistakes they were doing in their setups. And I just think it's a lot of overchals sometimes. I think sometimes they overcomplicate things for themselves. Like, if they could just focus on playing their crossfires and playing their corners and just trying to make the game come to them, I think it'll help them a lot, especially on Apocalypse, because there's only so much you can do when you're flooding through the front of some of these hills. I mean, they're really hard to break. Like, some of these hills are money hills. and it shouldn't be broken as easily as we're seeing here in this map. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I skipped the first rotation, Tom, but the same situation happened on both P4s. Seattle parlays a P3 and a P4. They flip Optic, and Optic never really get into a comfortable position to really contest the P4s. It ended up being a 64-point advantage for Seattle. They got 76-12 on the Chicago side across both those P4s. We've talked a lot about how that P3, P4, P5 swing could really dictate the map, and people kind of overplay the P2 stuff a little bit.
Yeah, but then right here, it's not even about Optic losing rotation. That's all Seattle right there. I think Seattle does a great job using their streaks. They don't just blindly use the streaks. They have people take routes. They block all the spawns, and then they use the streaks. So that way, when they get the kills, Optic spawns all the way out. So they do a good job. It's number 6, Prasini, who takes the long route. He pinches on in. Pierce, he uses the streaks. He forces everybody inside. He holds his L trigger, picks up some kills. Bada bing, bada boom. They get into this hill. They break it. And it's a perfect use of streaks. And I think it's really important that some of these teams are witnessing what Gunless was doing with his streaks, because I see some pro players or some teams just completely wasting streaks. Like they're getting nothing out of it. They're getting nothing out of it, and it's like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of playing your life and getting streaks and going that hard to pick those up? Where, listen, if you're playing for streaks, sometimes it might hinder the team if you're playing your life and you're not going in for trades and stuff. Sometimes it's situational, but if you play for streaks and you get your streaks, you got to realize how to use them. You got to know how to use them, and I think Seattle used them very, very good. And I know that was probably off the call of Big P.
Well, I want to also talk about another play that I actually didn't even catch the first time I watched this. Seattle almost get a little bit comeback on here, but watch what happens in the back. Formal, I think they lose track of 3 people pinching on the back. And Classic ends up getting a big kill in the back of the guy cross and spawn Formal, and then this whole team spawns in the back here, and they have one also pushing out front.
It was a big kill. It was a big kill because they wouldn't have spawned there. They were able to pick up a little bit of the scrap time, but even right here, I think Optic, you know, they should hold here.
How did where did number 3 go? Look at before all that happened. I want to see what number 3 was doing, because I see him back maps when the entire team ran forward. Can we go back? What the fuck?
Where?
You don't see number 3? Okay, you'll see it in a second. Wait. Oh no, he spawned. So he spawned out. He spawned out.
Yeah, he spawned out.
Wait,
okay.
but this should be a red flag, like for Formal. He should have just like not done anything. Seen Dashy spawn out for that far.
Once he spawns out, I mean, I don't know what the comms are like, but Dashy's got to scream that somebody's back there. Or somebody's trying to make a play to the back. Because if Formal just plays his life and plays a corner, it probably won't get this mixy. But listen, Seattle, they end up getting the time, and it's not over yet. Optic, they have rotation to next. They're holding spawns, and they let it go again. And I think it was Seattle. They end up, they push through low. Scump's able to find one. They end up playing their lives. And I think Seattle just, Octane's able to find a pick. It's a lot of solo chows again. You know, like Dashy goes down, Scump goes down. They're not working with each other. They're not in setups where, like, they're holding crossfires. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be nitpicky. But I think this is, like, the little things. Like, I think these are little tiny things that, like, if Optic's able to micromanage these little setups and these little mistakes, like, they could be a really top team.
Agreed, Tom. And since you want an update, by the way, crazy last minute of the overtime. Milwaukee goes up. KD with a chance at 11 seconds left. He airballs a 3. It looks like the game's over now.
KD airballed?
Yeah. There was a mixy overtime. Everybody looked dead. They were all walking across the court. There were no buckets being made in the overtime.
Wow.
They all put it in the 48, and then everybody had no energy.
Got to feel for KD. Got to feel for him. I mean, listen, I know a lot of people don't like KD because they think, you know, he took the easy way out. But I think any competitor would find a team that would help them win a championship. I think that's the goal for a lot of these players in the league, and they want to win championships. And you know, I respect KD. I respect KD for everything he's done. And I saw people spamming Luma in the chat when I was saying I like KD, but what are you going to do? I do. So, you know, again, that's my opinion. So if you don't like it, what are you going to do? But yeah, I think we should go back into the map. I think if Optic can fix these little tiny things, I think they'll be a way better team. And I'm surprised, like, they got to be picking up on this shit. They have to be, right? Like, there's no way.
They don't try to do too much sometimes, I feel like, Tom. Like they don't like you said, you know, they have a weird tendency of not letting the game come to them.
Yeah, they make the game harder for themselves, and it's like clear as day. Like it happens so much where they're just like over challenged or they're trying to big dig people, and it's like,
almost feels like they're trying to get into like ideal setups and ideal situations every time when they don't have the gaps to do so, and that's causing players to get picked apart. to be honest, and that's what gets their setups broken because people are trying to rush over and get in these perfect ideal scenarios when they got to learn to play tight around the objective and just let the game come to them and hope for the best, because sometimes that's what you need to do.
They need to get in setups where they can all help each other at all times. Like sometimes they just seem like they get into set. And listen, it's a lot easier said than done. Like I'm sure Optic could be listening and be like, oh, you know, these guys don't know what they're talking about or this and that, or they might be agreeing. I don't know. But it is a lot harder to said than done. Like, it's not as easy to set up some of this shit as we're saying, but it's definitely an issue, and that's the difference between the super top teams.
If you really just want to go back to that map, that P1, you can actually get into setups where like 2 or 3 of you guys are actually on the point and playing these weird rat off angles, because at the end of the day, they have to literally sprint up either the mid alley with no cover where the guy half wall can see him, or even if they flood barrels, if you don't give them any kills on like the actual P3 or bottom of the helipad, like, or the heli, like dirt path or whatever, when they come down into the barrels area, when they go to that line of sight on the hill, they're like in the open down there. So like you can just force them into those lines of sights and crossfire them with your guy half wall, with maybe a guy or 2 on the hill, right? Have maybe a guy late peeking maps after the action starts going down. The problem is they're just not picking up on that, and they're trying to get ideal scenarios where they're pushed up barrels and everything's being watched, and it's just, you can't do that all the time.
No, you can't. You gotta play together, and listen, sometimes it's gonna work because they're talented and they can just gun their way out of situations like that. But in order to stay consistent and to consistently win games, like especially when you're gonna play some top teams, you gotta clean it up. You gotta clean it up, and you gotta make sure you're working those crossfires. But Ben, I noticed you paused it here. We go into a game number 5, a map number 5, Seattle. They're trying to pull the reverse sweep, and we're currently tied up at 3, Ben, where you paused it.
Yeah, this is a swing round. It comes down to a 1v1. Optic's going to go ahead and win this round, and they're not going to lose a round for the rest of the map. So we'll let it play out, and then I'll get you guys' thoughts on
yeah, we'll let it play out. I do want to give some props to Envoy. I think Envoy played great in the S&Ds. I think Formal, Scump, and Dashy's always doing his thing. I feel like that guy's just a walking fucking killing beast. That guy's just a fucking animal. And then I think Formal and Scump really stepped up in the respawns, and I think Envoy really stepped up for these guys in S&D. And it's just the playmaking ability that he has. He's able to find gaps. He's able to be annoying and just do unpredictable shit. And he goes absolutely massive in this round. I think it was Classic who initially made the play, and then he went a little bit rogue. Classic finds himself pushed up into a corner here. He's able to pick up a couple kills onto the bomb, and I thought it was a great play. He picks up a kill, waits for his team, he slides on in, boom. But then Envoy picks up 2 because Classic goes a little rogue. I would have liked to see Classic just kind of stay down there. He's by himself, but Envoy, he ends up going huge. He's feeling himself because he got 2, and he wanted to get the fucking 3. And I know he's a fucking crazy man. Nagola don't fuck around, you know. So he wanted to get the 3-piece. But he jumps at him like a fucking animal, and Envoy's able to take him down, make it a 1v1 situation. Then I love the play from Envoy. He grabs the bomb and he switches lanes. He breaks some ankles. He goes right to the B bomb site and he times it perfectly. He gets that bomb down. It's 5 seconds to plant. He starts that thing at 6 seconds. So just a good heads up play out of him. And then he just plays his corners. He probably bumps his headset, tries to play his corners, try and just figure out where Gunless is at. And he ends up doing a good job and ends up winning the fight, checking the bomb, and getting Gunless out of there. And it was a big swing round, because to go up 4-3 instead of 3-4 is definitely a big one, Ben.
Yeah, and obviously I think Seattle probably lost a little bit of composure after the 1v3. They weren't able to really recover, and it's tough for the Seattle boys. I thought they put up a good fight in this series, and ultimately for Optic, the skills shine through. They've been the better team consistently throughout this year, and they were able to stay alive and really grind this one out. And I think that's a massive – it's less about Optic and how they played in this series and more respect to Seattle for showing up and really giving Optic a great fight today.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great series regardless. It was a really good series, and, you know, I think everybody was at the edge of their seat today. All fucking day we had crazy matches. I mean, this wasn't the only one. But then Optic, they're able to bounce back. After they win an offense, they win a defense, and they go up 5-3.
Almost gets amazing timing here too, which is kind of unfortunate.
Almost, but he ends up falling. Optic do a good job, and then, you know, 2v1 situation, Dashy picks up the pinch, and look at the hype, look at the energy coming from these Optic guys. This is why I miss the atmosphere of the big stage, and it's nice to see these guys. I was actually there when this happened, and, you know, I was backstage with Hector, and I was like, you guys needed that one. That was a big fucking win for you guys. And he agreed. You know, Hector, he said, yeah, I know. You know, I know it was a big win. So it was, it was a good one, Asim. You know what I'm saying? It was a good match.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, so it was cool to see the guys win. I felt bad for Seattle, man. Pristini, man, Preston's very hard on himself. I was talking to him in the player lounge, and he's like, I should have done this and I should have done that. And I said, Preston, look, you played good, man. You played good. You guys played your heart out, and you looked a lot better this weekend. And obviously, I know these guys have had a rough year, but at least they're making games competitive, and they're putting on a fucking show for us. And that's all we can ask for, right? These guys have been working hard, and they come up on a big stage, and they've been super entertaining. So I just want to thank the Seattle guys and the Optic guys for a great match. But then we go into the next one. We got the New York Subliners going up against Dallas Empire. Obviously, Clay was released from Dallas when it went from 5v5 to 4v4, so maybe a little bit of a grudge match. We're back on a big stage. Unfortunately, Asim wasn't there to play against these guys. I thought this would have been a great series if it was, New York had their normal team.
I have some thoughts on this veto, Tom. I think New York's been pretty good about their vetoes all year, but I didn't agree with their strategy here. On scoring up on Garrison twice against the Dallas team that's very good on the map. Probably would have liked to have seen New York play Dallas on a raid. It's not like New York was going to be the super favorite team going this series, but I don't think they made it any easier with their approach here and how they ended up getting to this map set.
Why?
Yeah,
they need to stop playing Dallas on Garrison. They need to stop playing Dallas. People need to stop playing Dallas on Garrison HP. That's been
there are a couple of teams that will do it. There are a couple of teams that will do it. Like I'm sure Toronto, FaZe, Minnesota are like 3 teams that won't care. But I get, especially Optic. New York. Would have liked to have seen them kind of mix it up a little bit against Dallas. Instead, they sort of gave Dallas sort of their better maps of the overall pool.
But let's get the show on a fucking roll. Let's get it fucking going. I think New York threw this first map a little bit. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah,
you think I'm speaking that on my ass here or what?
I mean, I think it was. They had a really good chance to close this out on that last rotation. I'm gonna go back a little bit, sort of where I thought it kind of started. It was sort of at the end of this P4. They were set up great. They got all this P4 time. They had Dallas in the spawn trap. And I just felt like maybe it's just communication errors or what have you, but they just never were able to really get the P5 going. And it's got kind of mixy from there.
How did they flip out? Because you kind of skipped it. I want to see how Dallas ended up reversing the spawns.
Oh, back up all the way. Give me a second.
Yeah, this could be telling. Because Clay makes this play, and they have 7 hard blocking because he's making this play. And he's just trying to be one and done there. I want to see how they actually flip the spawn out.
Shotzzy ends up getting a kill mid-map. They start working some kills. They probably do they just get the kills and push through? How does this work?
Number 8.
Some weird spawns coming in.
Wait, hold on. Why did he spawn garage? I gotta watch this.
Yeah, why the fuck did he spawn there?
What the fuck?
Why the fuck did he spawn garage?
Hey yo.
That doesn't make any sense. I mean, number 5 just. Number 5 just spawned
up.
So
number two should be making them spawn brick. I think it. Wait, watch Ender's screen closely. Just keep play. Or wait, did Ender jump and block the spawn by looking through a green door? There's no shot, right?
Yeah, no.
No shot. Oh.
Nah. I don't think that's what it was.
Holy shit. The only thing that I can tell you is it might have been because Dallas had hill control and they had a guy pushed up P1. But even then, I just don't see a world where that's supposed to happen.
New York already has a guy on that back green spawn, so I wouldn't see why it would flip like that.
Yeah, that was actually weird. Well, we might not know all the intricacies of the game, but I do like to think I have a pretty good idea of it. And from what it looks like, they got kind of blessed.
Listen, man, it's hard to read it even looking at it in Codcaster, so you can only imagine when you're in the middle of a match.
I mean, they're not reading that.
How the fuck do you read that fucking thing?
It's safe to say they got blessed.
Yeah.
That's pretty blessed spawn.
But, Dallas end up flipping out. It probably catches New York off guard a little bit. They're able to get onto this hill. And they're pretty much able to close it out with this time. I mean, New York is being put in a blender here. They got to make moves to the point. Does this go to another P1? I don't fucking remember. Too many series today, but my brain is in shambles.
I think it does go to P1 because New York gets a trap going here.
Yeah, and I thought New York was gonna bring this back. This is when I thought New York was gonna bring it fucking back. It got really mixy here.
I think Hydra starts to make some plays right on his next life.
Hydra's making plays. I think does this go to another P2?
There was just a lot of split spawns coming in, so I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but number 6 was pushed up in L which caused number 1 to spawn back like a factory is what I like to call it. You'll see right there. You see that spawn?
Yeah.
He spawned there literally because he was pushing through L. And they have a guy green. So the guy green is basically influencing like the brick side spawn. And basically that spawn just ended up getting a guy behind them. Well, they end up taking care of him, but that nullified a lot of their time.
This was huge right here. This gunfight with Illy and Paco. I think if Paco was able to win that right there over by that green side, it would have been huge.
Yeah.
Just staying alive over by green. And I don't know if Hydra just didn't think he was gonna be there because he was caught YYing, just sprinting in the open. I
he
think
did get caught YYing there.
I think Hydra thought there was maybe a gap because even if Hydra just stays alive, he has teammates coming off spawn that possibly can help him. But I remember this now. Illy pops a 3-piece right here, if I remember correctly.
Well, yeah, it's because
New York, they're forced to push right to the front.
Forced to go
they don't want to go around. They push to the front, and Illy's able to pick up a 3-piece. So
they had time to go around the back, but they just gambled that New York or Dallas would be stacking it, and just hope to God that they just put everything into hitting front.
yeah, it wasn't a bad play call. I honestly didn't mind it, but it didn't work out. It didn't work out for them. They end up going down 3-piece coming out of Illy. And listen, a lot of people have a lot of flack to say about Illy, but I think he's been picking up the pace a little bit too. I think Illy's been showing out a little bit this event on the big stage. He's been doing his fucking thing. But then we go into an S&D. And again, it's the fucking Decimate show. I mean, this kid was doing his fucking thing. He comes in to fill in for the squad, and he really showed out in S&D, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, New York gets off 5 straight, and they drop a few rounds, but they close it out.
Yeah, and
I
JT
know
goes
that
10-2.
Dallas. I saw a few people from Dallas tweet after that they felt like they got hard counter on this map. It was a big rebound for New York. Just can't lose this S&D and just feel like you're fighting for your lives. They were able to extend this series. Overall, good showing from New York on this map.
Yeah, good showing out of New York. Asim, what was your thought process just watching your team compete, and what was it like watching these guys?
Especially for this map too. Like, I know Decimate told us that he hasn't really played Miami all year long because it's been their auto beater. So I was really surprised to see how good he fit in my role, especially in S&D, because like I don't know if you guys have seen, but like in terms of like stats, I think this year like I've been like the main guy, like especially in S&D, and to see JT come in with like not being familiar with the bomb and him not being familiar with calling shots on a brand new team, seeing him go like 10-2 on Miami with a map that he's never played was really impressive. So shout out to him, especially in S&D.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. And Perse, didn't you have a lot of good words to say about Decimate, or am I thinking of somebody completely different?
I mean, I do have a lot of good words to say about JT, but I don't know if I've actually said any of them. But JT's disgusting at search, period. And in respawn, a lot of people used to think that he was kind of like a super slow sub, right? Like a baity sub. And I think in this game, he's completely changed that perspective of a lot of people's, including myself. He's a very aggressive player, very good player, very talented. It just sucks that both times we've gone to see him, he's been on basically pickup teams, essentially. The whole Seattle situation.
Clay had a lot of good things to say about him. Clay,
yeah, he's a beast, man.
Yeah, I was talking to Clay. Clay drove me home today from the venue, and he said, "Listen, Decimate's a good player, man. Like he's definitely showed out and showed why he should be on the big stage." I think for Decimate, it was just a little bit unfortunate that he was filling in for Asim, and Decimate even said it himself in the warm up stations. He was just like, Asim. I don't really fit Asim's playstyle. Like, I don't really fit his role. Yeah, we might run the same gun, but, it's 2 different playstyles. It's 2 different roles.
Sure. Yeah. JT might not be like Hydra, right? Like how Hydra was playing in the stage, but like he fits that role more than he does like Asims. Like he just kind of like squares up with people, is really aggressive, and so having 2 of those on one team and respawns it's gonna make things a lot more difficult. For you. And
then we go into a Garrison control, and Vivid was making plays through bricks a lot. I think Dallas, they were able to pick up 2 offensive rounds on Gary, and they were doing their thing. That map blew by quick. They won 3-0. They were able to just get kills and force those B stacks. And unfortunately, New York, their controls hasn't been looking good at all. Even Asim, even with you on the team. I mean, you guys really need to work on that game mode because it is a swing mode. And I think if you guys can get your control in order, I think for the most part, you guys just do a lot of dumb shit. You guys don't work together at all in that game mode, and I don't know what it is, but you guys need to make sure you get that shit down because that's a swing mode, and I think it's very important that you guys get good at that because I think you guys have a good hard point. I think you guys can win S&Ds. Obviously, hard point wasn't looking too good today, but I think with you on the team, I think you guys are good at those game modes. I think you just got to focus on that. I don't know if you agree.
No, I completely agree. I think our hard point and our S&D is championship caliber. I think you've seen like in the stats, like especially in Game 5, we're like 8-2 in Game 5. Like we know how to win our S&Ds and we know how to win our hard points, especially since like we went on that crazy 15 win streak on hard point. Like those two game modes, I think we've definitely done a really good job of like playing together, but we still haven't locked it in with control.
Yeah.
Early on this year, I think Diamondcon was our hard carry in control, especially. So losing him and bringing on Hydra, like we need to learn to adapt and try to. It's still a struggle. Like I know we've had Hydra for like 3-4 months, but we still haven't fully locked down that game mode, and we're actively trying.
Yep. But then we go into a checkmate hard point, and listen, it was a very close game. It was going very back and forth up until the second rotation. They pulled what?
Tom.
No, you're good. You're good, Ben. You're good. Fucking, I'll let you continue it, Ben. But I was gonna say it's very back and forth, and then going into these P3, P4, Dallas really pulled away. I mean, they do a good job blocking spawns and just pinning New York. Those P2 spawns are brutal, absolutely brutal on this map.
Especially on P4, man, and it's tough. I mean, the ARs on Dallas played really good in this series. You had Reese Vivid doing his thing and playing. It was just really tough for New York on these next couple of hills to really get any kind of pressure to the 50-yard line on the map. And I don't think New York ended up getting another point after this.
Nope,
I mean,
they couldn't. They couldn't get anything going.
50, so.
Dallas did such a great job chaining these P3, P4 hills where New York just couldn't get anything going. And you just see New York panic. They're panicking. They're pushing one by one. There's no teamwork. There's no chows. It almost looks like it's chalked up. It almost looks like they're chalked. They're getting spawned in the back. They're giving Dallas streaks. I mean, at this point, it's over. It's over. And, the frustrations came in from New York after the series. They were obviously upset, but, it's shitty circumstances. And I think they tried to make the most out of a shitty situation. So at the end of the day, what are you going to do? So shout out to Dallas. I do want to give credit to Vivid. I think Vivid's been playing phenomenal for these guys, especially once we got to land. I mean, this guy's he's been calm, cool, collected, composed. He's been making great plays around the map. Listen, I'm a big fan of Vivid. And I was going to slap up Rambo in ping pong, but then I realized it's Rambo, and he's probably disgusting at ping pong because he's good at all that shit. Bowling, ping pong, golf, you fucking name it. This guy's a fucking legend in everything. So you know what? I'm not going to embarrass myself today. But Rambo Ray, if you're listening, maybe we'll catch you another time and we could play some ping pong.
He's a bowling champ. He's a golf champ. He's a ping pong champ.
I'll tell you what. There was a foosball table in there, and nobody wanted to play me.
Nobody
on the
wanted to smoke. Nobody wanted to smoke.
They were all scared. Shit. They were shitting themselves. They were shitting their pants. But let's get into the next series.
This is another veto that I had some questions about.
We'll let them know, Ben. We're going up. It's Optic Chicago going up against Minnesota Rocker. Go ahead, Ben.
I saw Merc tweets about it too, kind of after we're taking notes. Again with the checkmate hard point here, I know that Minnesota probably doesn't feel super comfortable on Moscow hard point, but again, like I just feel like you just take Optics best map out of the pool and just get your chances on Moscow. I thought the egregious one was the checkmate though. I would have liked to have seen Minnesota play them on raid. I feel like the checkmate control, especially a map that they hadn't played like essentially all season, was a risky pick on their part, especially in a major. Maybe they thought that was to try to like kind of throw Optic off. It didn't really end up working out, and Optic kind of swung the momentum after that game 3.
Yeah, the momentum was definitely swung. But if you run it, the checkmate hard point again, Optic, they take care of business once again. I mean, listen. Every time they play this fucking map, everybody says this is like Optic's map. Why do people keep playing them on it?
So my bad. I just got back because I used the bathroom. But I looked at the vetoes, and I was kind of just wondering: have we seen Rocker play Apocalypse, or do they play much of it? Because I feel like that's a map they should add into their map pool. Like you have Preston on your team who can run that third sub. Like we obviously have seen Preston with the sub, and Standy's really aggressive and stuff like that. And it kind of would fit their play style and their team. No, I feel like that they should be adding that into their map pool.
They're 2-2 on Apocalypse. I don't mind. Like I'll be honest, I don't mind the Garrison. They clearly didn't pick this map. Yeah. But I don't mind the Garrison Hardpoint pick map 4 because Minnesota's looked really good with this team and has beaten a lot of decent teams to good teams on that map. But I agree with you. It's like. Extending their map pool is going to be a priority for Minnesota kind of after this major. Would love to see them play more Apocalypse. I'm just curious from their POV, and maybe I'll reach out and try and find out what the Moscow hardpoint ban was about from their side.
I definitely want to give a shout out to Formal, because this guy was on a different fucking planet today.
Yep.
He really struggled yesterday, and today he was a different beast. And you know, Formal, he stepped up. He stepped up and he said, you know what, it's fucking game time. I'm gonna kick up today, and we're gonna push it to a champ Sunday. Get out the way. It's time to get paid. I'm just fucking around, bars and shit. Fucking Formal goes off. Scump, he went off as well, Ben. I think Formal and Scump, ton to pound. They really showed out today in the respawns.
Yeah, I mean, especially we've seen a lot of ARs frying at this event. To see today big games, not just only out of Formal, but from Dashy today, as well as contributions from the sub players. Optic's looking pretty good going into Sunday, and we'll get to it at the end of the show, but I'm excited to see them run up against Dallas to kick things off tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good one. I think the Optic Chicago Dallas rivalry is always a good one, right? I mean, you got beef, you got internal beef from Formal and Crib6, so these guys are gonna be going hard. But Minnesota, they're able to bounce back and win an S&D, Ben.
Yeah, I think Minnesota's on a little bit of a winning streak on this map. The only team that seems to have their number right now on this is FaZe, and even then Minnesota beat them the last time they played this map. I just think it comes down to really, really good plays on the map from their anchor players, which tend to be Preston and Major Maniac. They do a really good job playing patient, being that safety valve, and they gave a lot of space for Stanley to operate in this map. This man was doing work on this map. As well as Dylan making some clutch plays as well. Overall, a well-played S&D by Minnesota against an Optic team that's turned S&D around, has been pretty good and pretty solid in this game mode all year.
Yeah, I think
outside of stage 1.
I think Stanley's another rookie that we got to give some credit to, because this is another guy who, he's coming on the big stage, and he's making a name for himself, and it's good to see these young guys come and play with some confidence, and not shy away from the big stage. It's inspiring, right, for a lot of people who are watching back at home that want to, one day maybe get on stage and play against the best of the world. It's cool to see this guy come out and do this type of shit on LAN, because I know a lot of people were curious about how he was gonna do. I see somebody in the chat said that Optic had 8 first bloods today in this map.
They had 8 first bloods,
which is fucking nuts. What the fuck happened?
Just a lot of.
This is the map where
late game situationals. They were just blowing. I'm gonna skip to round 5. Because I think that's a good microcosm of kind of how this map played out. Let me see if I can find it.
This was the series where Clay was driving me home, and he was, we were talking about the New York series, and he was yapping away, So I fucking, I'm watching some of these plays for the first time myself. So I'm kind of curious to know what happened. I just know that Minnesota was able to bounce back because I was keeping an eye on the score. But it seemed like it was a very close game from what I'm watching right now.
It ended up going around 10. It was a little back and forth, but. Just again, I think Optic probably could have capitalized some of these first bloods, but I also think there was a lot of really good plays from Minnesota, especially their work mid-map and back laundry. I felt like they did a good job of just trying to quickly equalize that 4v3, or just do a really good job taking 2 quick kills. Overall, for Minnesota, I think they were a pretty good grasp how to handle this map. Maybe, they could have felt like another world they could have won this, but ultimately individual play for Minnesota shine through.
A fun tip, by the way, as you guys noticed, Standy went to plant that bomb and he hugs the wall. You can actually always be seen from basketball if you're stretching the bomb there. There's actually a better angle that I'm mind blown more people don't use, but if you plant on the right corner, the opposite side of it, you can't be seen from money, you can't be seen from L, and you can't be seen from basketball. So I have no idea why people even ever plant in that spot if they don't have basketball pushed out, because you're just asking to get picked if a guy comes around that corner.
We've seen a couple of pro teams do that. I'm surprised to your point that they don't do it more.
Yeah, there's a better angle. I mean, you're hidden from everything, so there's no point in not planting there. Anyways.
Damn. Hey, listen, this guy Dashi got a fucking snappy on him. This guy's got
one of the best shots.
Nice little backslide there too.
This guy's got a fucking snappy on him. This guy's fucking. But Priesta, hey, it looked like he had him for a second, but Priesta, he ices up when he's in the bedroom. That sounded a little weird. But yeah,
all good.
He ices up because yesterday he clutched a fucking 1v2 or 1v3 there, did he not?
Yeah, he had that finesse with Krim, right?
Yeah, that was a little sus. That was definitely a little sus, but what are you gonna do, guys? I was just calling it how I see it. He clutched a 1v3 yesterday from the bedroom area, and he did it again today. I feel like he's a tough kill when he's up there. So good plays out of him. Then he's able to find a first blood in this round number 10, Round number 10, Priest is able to find a first blood, so good plays out of him. Did they close it out here?
Yeah, they opted to kind of slow things down, and Minnesota's going to work a few picks and close this out.
They didn't slow it down. They tried to hit B, and Preston just got a kill, and then it just
They,
looked
they
like...
backed up for a sec to try and work a few things going A, but number 7 actually Dylan gets a kill, and the whole thing kind of falls apart.
Yeah, so a good play out of Minnesota to bounce back. You know, I always feel like Minnesota is going to be a good S&D team just by their roster on paper. I think 2-3-5 is going to be where they really shine. I think for them, they need to really work on their hard point a little bit. If they really want to compete and be the best of the best, I think they really, really need to focus on their hard point. But then we go into a control, and Optic looked really good in this control. I watched this a little bit. This was where I finally started to get a chance to watch a little bit more, and Optic was all over the map. They were picking up kills left and right. Formal, again, was just having a field day. He's 31-16 right now. Optic do a good job getting onto these points and trying to make things hectic and picking up kills, and they just do a good job. I mean, there's really nothing else much to say on my end unless you guys have more to add.
There's a really good Dashi, basically sound horse attached at the end of this game that I thought was a massive kill and ended up kind of swinging it. Again, just on the Minnesota side, I'm very curious. And I saw someone in the comments saying, I know that the Minnesota team does those post-game and pre-game videos. I'll go back and watch and see sort of if they put in thought process on what they were trying to do with the allowing this map through.
Chris, I don't know if you watched this map at all. I'm not really too sure what you were doing. Did you watch this map, Chris, or no?
I was mid-match, but I just kept like popping in, and I kept seeing that Formal was going nuts, and I was like, yes, this is what I want to see out of this guy, because
he's gonna finish 35-19 in this map.
He still has it in him,
which is unreal. No, 100%. I think they all do. I think the decision making is what's going to hold these guys back. I think if they can figure out on how to get on the same page and try and get themselves a little bit more consistency, I think you know, they're going to be a tough team to beat. But I just like the way they were working the map. I like the way they were working with each other and playing. I liked how they were picking up kills street. They were able to get on this point and just able to close this one out. They close this one out. Don't they win this offense?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It comes down to lives. It comes down to lives. Dylan attach. He ends up picking up some streaks. He's gonna rain hell with some streaks, but I think Optic's able to close it out.
So I think it kind of happens. Actually, it's not Dylan gets on, or it's Major Maniac. I apologize, but it's right here. Just a really good play from Dashi to just use the audio cues. If Major Maniac was able to get this kill, look at the lives count. It's 3v4. The 16 seconds left. The time's still going to tick down. Instead, Major Dashi gets that kill. Dylan does get to trade long. And then he gets traded again by Dashi.
He fucked up his
movement.
I was going to say,
he fucked up his movement a little bit.
Did Attach go rogue, or did he fuck up his movement?
Oh no, I was talking about Major Maniac when he got sound horde. He got a slow mantle, because if he would have got a quick mantle over that wall, he would have been able to kill him.
But I'm saying,
he got the slow mantle.
Yeah, but I'm saying Attach right here. He picks up a kill street, and then it looks like he just gets caught out. Like how, you know what I'm saying? Like he got zapped. Like
yeah, those were good
zapped
shots.
Him. It was great shots.
He might have overstayed his welcome on the wood steps, I think.
I don't know, but Dashi went massive. Picks up a big 3-piece. He's able to close it out. Anything can happen if that's going into an overtime. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big map for them. Because if Minnesota's able to take a respawn and push it to a game 5, I think anything can happen. But then we go into a map number 4.
This is a super back and forth map, Tom.
Yeah, back and forth map. Big plays out of Dashi to help them go up 2-1. But then we go into a Garrison hardpoint. And as we see on the screen, it was very back and forth the whole way through. It's 195 to 196 right now in this next rotation to Hillsbend.
Yeah, I'm going to play that from here. I think Minnesota had an opportunity to close this one out, and just some good plays from Optic on these last couple of hills to go ahead and close out the series with a 250 to 212 win.
Rewind that. You know, this is the problem too. Like Minnesota kind of fucked up here. You know, I don't know if they
the guy
fucked
on point
up.
needed to push out. He needed to stay alive.
He needs to push out, or he needs to drop back. Like he needs to drop back and play his life.
Spot at best.
He's in a one and done spot, and the problem is nobody's here to help him. You know, nobody's here to help him. So Dashi ends up getting the kill on point. Then you got a guy dying green, and now Minnesota, they get put on the fucking back burner. And then it gets even worse because they're able to push this to a P2, right? Because Optic can't win it here. And they get gunned. They get gunned through the front of the hill. I'm pretty sure it was Envoy who made the play. If I remember correctly, Envoy, he's able to push through the front of hill. And I think he guns Major Maniac. So Attach goes huge here. If I remember correctly, he picks up a big 2-piece around the back. And he's able to play his life, pick up some kills on rotation. So great plays out of him. But then it's Envoy who makes the play. So Minnesota, they're looking to end it on this P2 hill. They can end it here. They're picking up kills. Scump and Dashy go around the back. They pick up a kill. Attach is still playing alive, but it's this one. Number 2 and number 6 through the front. Mike can't lose that. He just can't. Mike ends up getting gunned.
If he gets that kill, they might have been able to stabilize, but the fact that Scump, or was it Scump right here? Yeah, Scump ended up getting around the back and finding a kill. As soon as he got that kill, somebody overpeaked an arch. And that's what ended up just basically spiraling it, because if Scump gets that one kill and gets traded, it's not the end of the world. But the fact that they got 2 openers there when they're in the back already, that's going to spawn them out, and then it's just going to make an easy break for Optic.
Yeah, if they're able to get those kills and Mike can just kind of play his life, then people can flood in from Minnesota into Hill from the front and just kind of hold his cross and just play time, because now they're just holding spawns and they can send it to a P3. And they can just, win it there. But instead, Optic, they're able to, Optic does a great job hitting some go buttons. They get some kills. They push through square and push through bricks very quickly, pick up some kills, and they're able to spawn Minnesota out. So, it puts Mike in a weird position where he feels like he can get pitched from Arch, and it just puts him in a weird spot. And Optic, they're able to collapse onto the hill. Big win out of Envoy. And then Optic's able to pick up spawns and close it out. They end up winning 3-1, but I think Minnesota, you got to give them props as well. They came out and put on a show for us, and they played great. So, shout out to the Minnesota Rockers. Shout out to all those guys over there. I think for them, I think they just need to focus on their hard points. Their hard points are abysmal. They're just really bad right now. I think they need to focus on that.
Just like Florida, I think they came to Atlanta, had some good spots. They had some learnings. I think, we went from having 3, a top tier 3 teams, FaZe, Toronto, New York, and then you had Optic at 4, and then it was kind of a mix after there. I think now with Dallas, Florida, and Minnesota, we'll see how the rest of this major plays out, especially with Dallas. But going into the next major, I'll be curious to see if some of those teams take the next step up, and we get a little bit more parity at the top of the standings here.
Listen, I know a lot of you guys want us to go on board with the listening, but we had 5 series today, and it's been a long day. So if you want us to go on board with the listening, we're not going to. Not today. Go back and watch if you guys want to go watch the listening. It was in the match. You guys can go back and watch it. But, we listen to listenings every day. And, they're very hyped and high energy. And, they're good listenings, man. But today, it was a long day, guys. We've been going on. I don't know what the uptime is. And look at Mitch. Look at the queen. Look at my girlfriend in the chat. She said, fine, I'll go back and watch it. Go ahead. Go back and watch it, Queen Mitch. We'll watch the Scump interview at the... actually, no. Ben already skipped through it, so forget it. Forget the interview. We're going on to the final match, guys. We're going on to Toronto Ultra, going up against Atlanta FaZe. Listen, we'll bring the listenings back in the next episode, but today, it's been a long day. It's been a long episode so far, so we want to keep it moving. But Toronto and FaZe... they kick off, and I think this was a series of the day, and I think everybody pretty much thought that this was going to be the best series, and it was a very good series.
I don't know if this is a series of the day.
Nah, these are the 2 best teams going at it. It's not even close.
These are the 2 best teams. I think the first 2 series were very exciting.
It's not about... I wasn't saying, most exciting.
But in terms of the quality of the gameplay here, this map is a simp show. The third map and the second map is kind of the Cammy show. Both these teams have incredible teamwork. Yet both teams are making insane individual plays to break through some of the excellent teamwork. I thought it was every time these 2 teams play, man, the high level COD is unreal between the 2, and this series did not disappoint.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Simp is the greatest player ever. I'm convinced. This guy's so consistent in everything. It's not even fucking fair. Anyways.
Yeah, he was going off. Listen, FaZe put on a clinic on this map. They came out strong, and I thought, listen, do you guys want to go back and listen to these listenings and these interviews? Everybody's flipping out, just spamming Lumas.
We gotta get through these matches, man. People just gotta begin.
Guys. Listen. It's not that big of a deal, guys. You know what I'm saying? It's not that big of a deal. We're gonna move on and we're gonna keep talking about the next series, guys. There's a lot of COD that was played. A lot of COD. We've been talking for over an hour now. We've been talking about everything. If you guys want to go back and watch the listenings and watch the interviews, they're all available for you guys to go check it out. But we're gonna continue on to this one. But FaZe put on an absolute show, and I thought this series.
You see what happens here. The P4s and P5s. Sorry, Tom. Simp goes off. I mean, the guy's 20-9 at this point. And FaZe do a good job on this P5. They use their streaks really well offensively. Just make sure they pull away with this lead and close it out. And it was looking like a blowout after this map. But massive credit to Toronto. They pull up in the second map, hit FaZe with the absolute gunning on standoff, and at that point I knew we were having a great series.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, you called it loading into the standoff. You said this is gonna be a 6-0. It wasn't a 6-0. It was a 6-1.
After the first round, I was like, this is looking like a 6-0.
Yeah, because you just thought, I don't know, there was something about Toronto on that map. You think that Toronto are just really good at standoff, and you could just tell right off the rip that, you know.
Wait, didn't we say yesterday that Toronto's not good at standoff, or they don't play it or something? Was that them that we talked about?
It might have been them, but they looked great. I mean, we'll skip the rest of this map and just get into the standoff.
They threw him a curveball.
I mean, this was a blender. Simp was in the fucking cheeks of the first map.
So if there's one weaknesses to FaZe's map pool right now, is it seems like standoff and Miami are the two maps where they're struggling, and they can't veto both of them in a given series. So my expectation with them is, I don't know if we'll see it again in this major, but I think you're going to see one or two of them maps in a lot of series for FaZe next stage. Because they've got a top 2 seed basically locked in. So at this point, they need to get those reps and get prepared for champs when they're going to have to play one or two of those maps.
No, they definitely looked a little uncomfortable here in this map. Toronto just do a good job in this map, just really pushing the initiative. They just take initiative. They get that map control like really easily. They definitely have a game plan, and they definitely talked about this map.
Yep.
And I think FaZe are going to go back and watch this and pick up on some things and maybe take some things.
I think from my POV, and I don't know, Chris, if you feel the same way, I feel like FaZes don't really get a lot of back alley control. They just don't utilize the map well. And they were just not taking control of mid. They'd cross mid and get blooded. Their A setups, they would had some good executes, but they were never able to execute the good post plants. And then on defenses, they just had no answer for the mid pressure from Toronto. Toronto will work Rammas and then rotate the A and just get bloods, and FaZe had no answer for that.
Yeah, I just think their FaZe is just not very proactive on this map, in honesty, in terms of like taking what they like, using the information they get and making quick decisions on it, because that's all this map is. Like, the map is so compact that, like, once you like read some information, you have to commit to something, and they're just struggling. They find themselves kind of just like waiting around a lot of the time, and it just bites them in the ass.
Yeah, this situation here with Alec here, and sort of this is the last round of the map. You know, they get into this decent post plan setup. Alex pushed out all the way, just can't execute the kill against Bance. They can't also kill Cammy, who went to that top P2. And they just get collapsed and broken. Traditionally, we don't really see this a lot from FaZe. Their S&D is pretty solid, but I think they clearly got a little bit of work to do on this map.
I think this is one of those maps where, as time goes on, FaZe will get better at it. I think they need more reps on it. They look a little lost sometimes. They were pinning themselves. It just looked like Ultra was taking advantage of it. You could tell they were a little bit more prepared. They were more prepared, and honestly, I feel like that's the story of Toronto. They're a very unorthodox team, and they work really well together. They're a really hard team to play against, especially in S&D, so kudos to them, because they came out in that standoff, and they bounced back. I think FaZe came out and made a statement first map, and I think Toronto came out and made a statement second map. This control is fucking nuts, because RCD's shot a fucking cruise missile, and I'm mind-blown that he did that. I can't believe...
Let me go back so we can see it. I think this ended up being... Really, today we saw the controls as we watched Alec. Apparently, he shot the
missile
right here. That's why it didn't explode.
That's actually insane.
He shot the fucking missile.
I think he killed it on. I think he killed it on accident because he was shooting somebody and the missile just popped in front of him before. Look at this.
No, no.
He said
no.
he
looked at it. Wait, look at his little X-ray.
He said that he shot it on purpose. That's what he said.
Wait, Ben, I'm running this back.
No, you're right, but like, wow.
Wait. Okay.
And he got a kill.
It's gonna come. It's gonna come. Watch. I'm gonna pause it right when he like looks at it.
And he got a kill, bro. I wish we could see it from his POV.
Like, see right here, he's not even looking towards Cleanix. He's looking at the Charisma. So he shoots that shit, and then he looks at Cleanix and kills him.
Wait, wow, I'm actually the CDL account. The CDL accounts. I wonder if
that's crazy.
I wonder if the CDL accounts that they're using, like, are the same ones that like people use for their stage matches. I would want to see that from Theater if he could get that from his POV.
True.
That would actually be sick if he could find that.
We'll see if they're able to dig it up.
I'll text him.
But I think from Toronto's POV,
I want to see it. So
it's a good idea. It's a good idea.
Getting this map, Toronto actually get this down to like in a
Toronto tossed.
They tossed, and this ended up being the swing in the series.
They fucking tossed. Listen, RCD's.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, RCD, he kills the fucking cruise missile, and then he goes fucking massive and picks up a big 2-piece. And I don't know who it was, but he shit on somebody bad. But we'll take a look right here. I think he jumps out of money window. But go ahead, Ben. I didn't mean to cut you off. You were talking.
I was gonna say he clutches, like, it ends up being a 1v6. That's a little gas because they ended up winning it on time. But for Toronto, we traditionally don't see him make mistakes like this. in the rate control, and it ended up basically being the difference in the series.
This was such a big win right here by CleanX. I mean, he does a great job playing his life, dipping and wheezing. He's able to kill Beezy, and just him staying alive basketball court is just fucking huge because it just buys that time for his teammates to come in and try and stack this point. And then once they get on this point, you have Selim. He's trying to make a play through the back. He gets taken out. Everybody falls, and it all comes down to fucking Alec, aka Arcides. He kills one and snaps on insight. Snaps on insight. Yep, pre-fires him for the second kill, and there's just no more time left.
Ben. Wait, Insight has 100. Wait, no. He has 96. I think he has 96 HP, and he was.
Yeah,
I don't know why he felt the need to trade it so fast, Tom. Like.
Well, there's no time on the clock. You had to get on the point.
No. Like, look. Okay. So when Bance dies, like, Insight is weak
he has
here.
Time.
There's 5.4 seconds left, Tom, and he's weak. He's 96 HP. He can like take a couple seconds to chow, but he chows weak and dies. I mean, Alec is weak too, but like still, dude, that's tough.
He probably tried to get the trade while he could. You know, Alec's weak. He's shooting at somebody else. Like he missed the trade, man. Honestly, it's a great play by Alec. Arcees was able to pre-fire the corner. He predicted Insight, and he picks up the kill.
IQ.
He sends it to an overtime, and this is where FaZe end up winning on an offense. They go into overtime, FaZe goes on an offense, and I love how they set this up. They get Selim in the water. They push to the front. They get a BZ to camp a corner mid-map. So all they need to do is play their lives Tiki, play their lives Water, and try and pick up some kills so they can work a stack on the point. And then if Toronto does try and flank through mid, they have a guy playing an off-angle mid-map. And I love how Abizi stays super patient. He doesn't move. He doesn't challenge Kitchen. He waits for those guys into the front of a hill. He waits for... He trusts his teammates. He has full trust on his teammates.
He gets set up. They got good trades here. You'll see Simp also pinch around and get the last one. It's just a really good set play from them.
Yep.
And they're able to get this stack and eventually work this kill. I believe I don't know. Do they cap it here? I think.
They did not here initially. I'm pretty sure they end up getting another series of kills, and then they end up stacking on to this point. But they just do a good job of just holding that mid map control and just really putting pressure on the front of that B point. And it just forces Toronto to just try and make plays because FaZe is doing such a great job running those lives down and stopping that clock. Like they keep getting on the clock, they keep running the lives down, and they're just forcing Toronto to make plays.
I'm really curious why Toronto all wrapped Kitchen. They had one guy in basketball, and he was just kind of staying alive, and a guy in money, and they all ended up going Kitchen. I guess they were going to try to get mid-map, but I think the best play there is to probably have the majority of your team go basketball and try to use the guy that's in money to line of sight and find where the players are, so that way the players in basketball can explode onto the point. They kind of just got staggered here in Kitchen and just did nothing with it.
Yep, they kept trying to get Kitchen control. I mean, a lot of the times you see teams, they really focus on Kitchen, but again, I just think this was all FaZe. I think they just made it really difficult for Toronto. I think they did a good job just applying pressure on the front side of that hill while also holding mid-map, not pushing it. Like, instead of getting aggressive into Kitchen, which you see a lot of teams do, they stay patient, and they just keep getting on that point and stopping the clock. And when they do that, they just consistently just keep working their trades and their kills, and the lives are running out. It was 17-10 in favor of FaZe, life count advantage. As long as they keep just getting on the front of that point and just picking up kills, I mean, Toronto's going to lose their lives. So they have no point. They have no chance. They have to keep pushing, and they have to hope that they win the gunfights. But FaZe do a good job putting the pressure on them. And then we go into a Moscow hardpoint thing.
This is a weird Moscow. I can't remember the last time I watched a Moscow where one team basically had all of the P2 time and the other team had all of the P3 time. Like, legitimately, it was just this weird back and forth. FaZe also kind of dominated the other hills. I think Toronto is a very interesting strat. I'm going to go back and kind of play this. This is sort of one of those like metagame things that sort of evolve over the course of the year, right? At the beginning of the year, teams were hitting the front of this hill, then getting down and playing from the front. And towards the middle of the year, the teams are going around the back trying to get the spawns. And now Toronto's like, well, if you guys are all just going to stack the back of the hill because you think we're going to hit the back, we're just going to flood front because you probably got one or two guys watching, and then we'll hold it from the front and play from there. So respect to Toronto and massive props for dictating the meta here. We'll see hills evolve like this over the course of a year, but
I mean, Ben,
happy to point it out.
Not only that, like, does a good point out of you, but like the fact that CleanX gets this kill, like an elbow, like not only does he like have a go button and actually full commits into elbow, but the fact that he kills Abizi and elbow is what made them break it. Because if he loses this gunfight, like Toronto looks like a bunch of dumbasses and they just die. I mean, they still look kind of dumb getting 1v4'd by Cellium, but I mean, it should have been a lot more successful than that.
It was a good play because what Toronto does is they distract the guy in those head glitches, and he's able to sneak sneak on in to that elbow position, and he's able to catch up easy off guard. But then Saliam ices up, and that's the thing with FaZe is, you know, you do everything right. You do everything right. Toronto works a break, and then you got somebody like Saliam who could just bail you out with his talent. He just uses his talent. He works his angles, and he bails them out. He pops a 4-piece. He kills all 4 of them. And it's like, sometimes it's like, okay, well, what are you going to fucking do? They probably should have traded him out better, but they tried. And Saliam is just, you know, he uses his talent to bail him out. And then at this point, I feel like FaZe just caught fire from that. Like, Saliam gets the 4-piece.
Cell keeps it going, man.
He keeps it going. He's unreal. Bro, I was in the FaZe lounge today, and I was watching these guys practice, and you know, I was watching a lot of teams practice, like just standing behind them, right? And FaZe is like one of the only teams where I'm like going behind each monitor and watching them all play, and they're just all just so talented across the board. It's like they're gonna be really tough to beat. You gotta play almost perfect to beat these guys, or just hope that you catch them on a bad day. I mean, it is what it is. You know, I'm a big New York fan, and I want to see these guys win, you know, but you got to call it where you see it. And I think any competitor that plays against them will say the same thing. They are a tough team to beat. They are hard. And it's strictly because not only are they talented, but I think RCD's bringing RCDs on and helping them get these guys on the same page and, you know, just playing the game the right way really shows. And Saliam was on one this last map because this guy wasn't missing a bullet, especially after that 4-piece. So just a good job out of him. One thing that I really like about Saliam's playstyle that we were talking a little bit about in the team speak, just watching him play, is just the way he's able to position himself and change up his angles. He's very unpredictable. You just never know where the hell he's going to be. And he's just very annoying to play against. So shout out to Saliam. Shout out to all the FaZe guys. They were able to close this one out. And they are in our grand finals, correct, Ben?
Yeah, they're going to be in the grand finals. I think there's a probably high probability we see this rematch again in the grand finals. I think Toronto played well. Again, just the map 3 mistake ended up costing them. I don't think they'll go back and fix it. But I think also one other thing on the FaZe side too is I believe they've won 11 hard points in a row now, which is pretty impressive. They're just rounding into form on that game mode. And I think they're going to be really tough to beat in the best of 9s at the moment.
And hey, kudos to the coaching staff as well. You got Coach RJ over there doing his thing. You got Crowder. People like to call him the Goach. One thing that I noticed when I was walking by some of these practice rooms is just the atmosphere in there. It just always seemed very stressed, very tensed in a lot of these rooms. But then when you walk past the FaZe room, they're fucking laughing and they're cracking jokes and they're having a good fucking time. It's like very laid back. Like these guys are having fun out there. They're having a lot of fun and they have a lot of trust in each other. And I just think that they got a good thing going on over there. And it shows. It shows in the results that they've been getting. So, you know, they're in the grand finals. They'll be awaiting their opponent. And then we go into Champ Sunday, Ben. We got a lot of great matches. We're obviously going to give our predictions. But, guys, this is going to be a fucking banger. Because I do think FaZe can be taken down. I think people need to come out with the fire. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think we're going to have a crazy Champ Sunday. We already had a crazy Saturday. This weekend has been an absolute blast. I don't know about you guys, but I have been having a great time watching these games. A great time talking to you guys here on the show and doing this show every night. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. So thank you guys for joining in.
These matches have been unreal.
It's been nuts. It's been a fucking... Hey, Call of Duty is not fucking... It's nuts right now. And, you know, it's disappointing to see where the viewership's at. And I know a lot of people have been... I think a lot of people have been complaining. But you also got to think, you know, YouTube is not the best when it comes to live viewership. I think a lot of the views always come on YouTube after. Like, a lot of people are always watching after the fact.
True.
I think that'll change over time. But I think that the league and everybody has been doing a great job. And, you know, I think the production's been good. And I think everything's been really good. So... I've been having a blast watching this event. I've been having a blast, and I also think people are dragging the viewership a little bit. I don't think it's as bad as people make it sound, but it's definitely not great, right? I think we can all agree we would like to see the viewership skyrocket a little bit more, but that's why we keep pushing out the...
We talked about it yesterday. I think there's a lot of factors, and it's a pretty nuanced conversation.
Listen, we'll get it back. You know, it's just you know,
we'll get it back. It's a little rut. Yeah.
Don't give up on the culture, man. Don't give up on the scene. The Call of Duty scene is fucking special, man. It's iconic. You know, there's a lot of fucking esports games, and you know, there's nothing like the fucking CDL. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing like Call of Duty. I fucking love it. But let's get into some of these matches we'll be seeing tomorrow. We got Dallas Empire going up against Optic Chicago. See, these are your top 4. FaZe, Ultra, Dallas Empire, and Optic Chicago will be your top 4 going into Championship Sunday.
Okay.
For elimination round 5, we got Dallas Empire going up against Optic Chicago. This is going to be a great match because I think Dallas has been on point. They look really good.
Yeah, they look really good.
They really do. They look good. I think Optic looks really, really good today. I'm personally gonna go 3-2 in favor of Dallas today.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go with Dallas, and I just think they're gonna hit form. I think they're gonna hit form. I feel like they're looking a lot better. I think it's gonna be a tough matchup for Optic. I could see anybody taking it, obviously. Like, I think these are two really good teams, and I think regardless, it's gonna go down to the wire. And I know there's a lot of Optic fans in here because I just saw Car Addict say "fuck you, Tom." But what are you gonna do? You know, it's my opinion. You know, it's just a prediction. You know, it's just a prediction. I think Dallas is gonna win 3-2. I think they are. But I'm curious to see what you guys have to say.
Yeah, I think when Dallas and Optic first played, I definitely had Dallas going into that. I just felt like they were gonna come with the fire. But I think, like Former said in their interview after they beat Seattle, I think they said they got a little too ahead of themselves, like going into LAN. They kind of like thought they were, gonna just come out and beat them with ease. But I think they got a nice little reality check of how good Dallas is, especially online. And those two match reps they had today were huge in my opinion for Optic. Like seeing Scump just start off like 18-6 and like all those series, like just going off. Like if you have LAN Scump going off like that, I think Optic's gonna win. So I'm gonna go Optic 3-1.
I like that. What about you, Ben?
I'm gonna stick with my prediction I had when we did our show earlier this week. I like Optic's all-around game in this matchup. There's a lot of I think there's a lot on the line here for both teams, and I like where Optic's progressing going this matchup. I think Optic's gonna take a 3-2. I'm gonna give Dallas the respect to go into Game 5 here, but I think Optic's gonna clutch up in the Game 5 and keep it running all the way to losers finals here.
Cool. I like that, Ben. It's a good prediction out of you. What do you think, Parasite?
I like what I saw from Optic in their last two matches, but Empire has been very consistent this entire tournament. Obviously, they'd lost to Ultra, but even that series was a really, really close series. I think they lost, was 6-5 last map. So, like, just based on the sample size we have of Empire and how consistent they've been in the tournament, I'm probably going to give it to Empire. But I do think that Optic will come out, and it could be anyone's game, but I'm going to give it 3-2 to Empire.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think we're all pulling shit out of our ass on who we think is going to win.
Man. Like,
it's
we're not the coaches.
But I think at the end of the day, I think these are two amazing teams, and I think anybody can take it. I'm just really excited to kick off tomorrow with this match. I think it's going to be a fucking good one. I will say, Tom,
whoever wins ain't beating Toronto. That's what I will say too.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree.
That's not even close.
I think we're going back. I think we're going back to a FaZe Toronto final. I think FaZe is going to end up taking the whole thing tomorrow. I really do. But I do agree. I think either Dallas or obviously one of them is going to move through, and then I think Ultra is going to take them down. I think it'll be like a 3-1 or a 3-2. I can see them making it a series, and it be really fucking close.
I want to see Empire win, obviously not win the tournament necessarily, but like I want to see them win their next two matches, because that's the one matchup I guess that we haven't really seen, especially with how good Empire was playing Toronto. I want to see them play FaZe and see how their subs perform versus the Tiny Terrors, because Reese and Shotzzy have been playing really well this tournament, so I want to see how they match up versus those two.
Hey, I would love to see a FaZe Optic final. That'd be fucking
nuts.
Cool too.
That'd
be nuts.
That'll
just for the culture, right? For the culture, I think that'll be really fucking cool. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think we got a lot of incredible matches tomorrow. I'm really excited to watch this. I'm happy that there's not 5 guys. My brain was all over I was at the venue today filming, and I was talking to a bunch of different people, and I was just busy all day, so I was doing the best I could to try and watch the matches. And
Tom, my brain is mush. I've been sitting here with Ben for the last 9-12 hours watching.
It's an absolute
grind. It's a long day, guys. It's a long day.
Yeah, hey, Call of Duty's life.
Listen, I took a micro nap at one point. It was the absolute struggle bus, but we got through it.
That's the thing too, is like I'm watching these series back, and I'm like, it comes to me as I watch it, right? But like sometimes I can't even remember who won what map, or like because it's just like they're all blended together. I can't even fucking remember what the fuck's going on. But it was fun. It was fun, and I very much enjoyed it. It's just been a long fucking day. But hey, we're gonna go to the chat for some questions, man. I hope you guys have been enjoying the show so far. We'll take 1 or 2 questions out of the chat, and then we'll have Ben fucking hit a putt, and we'll call it a fucking night, and then we'll get ready for Championship Sunday. I think this weekend of shows have been absolutely incredible. So I appreciate you guys joining up. If Asim can't get into the States, do New York pick up Desi? Asim's getting in, brother. He already got his.
I'll be in sometime next week, hopefully.
Yeah, he got his stuff going. He just needs to get it all mailed to him.
Yeah, I've been super transparent, especially with you guys in the flank. But I said it before. I mean, my visa got approved. I just have to wait for it to come in the mail. So there's some good news for you.
Let's
you
get
guys,
away
by the
some
way.
of the
Asa,
chat.
Asa doesn't have to play on his backup PC.
Like that.
Maybe we're gonna see some Tom and ASIM streams.
I like that, bro. I like
yes,
that.
You
I
will
like that.
definitely see the
Yeah.
facts.
Hey,
man.
we're gonna have Asim coming through to the apartment, man. Maybe we can get him on the show
I'll
live.
be living in Tommy's crib, man. Come
Yeah,
on,
dead
man.
ass,
you
bro.
know?
We're gonna be
Okay,
chilling,
okay.
bro.
Yup,
Somebody
yeah, we
said
are.
not a question, more of a take. I think Arceus has taken a lot what he learned with his time with Clay, and he has brought it to his FaZe team. I think Arceus is just a smart player in general, brother.
I think he's always been a leader.
I don't think
Yeah.
he just like learned from Clay that much. I think Arceus has just always been a really good, smart player, and I think even on E United, he helped Clay when it came to being that IGL and
I think
helping-
Arceus is progressing to that like IGL status that we know from like all our veterans like Clay and Krim and stuff like that. I think he's definitely
Yeah.
gonna be up there. Maybe another like year or two. And I mean he's obviously doing it well right now, but like another year or two under his belt doing this type of stuff with that like tenured of a roster, and you're gonna call that guy a great leader, man, in the future.
Facts.
Now, somebody said, will methods improve Ultra because of LAN experience? Are you fucking serious? Are you being serious? I think Ultra look insane right now, bro. I would not touch a thing on that team.
Agreed.
I think Methods is a great player, but I would not touch the roster, man.
Yeah,
Priority
phase one
for
sorry, go ahead. Go
I
ahead,
was
go
saying
ahead.
priority for Toronto in the offseason to re-sign this whole roster because they managed to build a team without unquote like traditional superstars. The team is absolutely frying. They're going to get better and better, more chemistry as they play together. They absolutely played well through most of this year outside of stage one. That was obviously Woods End. I think they've got a great setup. They just got to keep it going and not let the usual offseason bullshit happen to mix up the team.
Somebody said, do you think RCDs or Insight is the best AR in the league? I think RCDs is the best right now. I mean, that guy is different, bro.
Either
He's
Alec or
different.
probably Insight for me.
Well, that's what he just asked. He said, which one's
Yeah.
the best? He said RCDs or
Yeah.
Insight, who's the best out of the two?
I'm trying to tip Insight here too, man.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
no,
whole point
I
of
heard
the
what you said.
fucking-
I heard what you said. I
You're a
know.
fucking asshole.
I heard what you said.
You're a fucking prick. You know that?
No, listen, man. You need to shut it, man. You're just making it worse, man.
You're
Just
making
talk
it worse.
else, dude. Just
Listen,
take
we'll
it out.
end
It's all
on this
good.
final question, because this is a good question. I think it's a good one. Who do you guys think the MVP of the tournament is? Who do you think it's going to be at the end of the tournament?
Simp by a mile. His stats and everything has just been unreal.
Simp, right? Yeah, that
Yeah.
bro.
If FaZe wins, Simp. If Ultra wins, probably Cammy. If Empire wins, probably Reese Vivid. Optic
Yeah,
wins.
I
I
guess
don't
right.
know.
Can we?
100%.
Yeah, we
Scum,
can't.
maybe.
That's a
listen,
laggy in the
we,
chat.
we,
It could be,
you
Om.
know
It
that.
could be Scum.
Hey, bro,
Jesus.
we cannot hide away from Cammy. That guy's nuts.
Yeah, I know. That
He's
guy is
different, bro.
crazy.
That guy's nuts. That guy's on another level. And I agree too. Scump's been playing really good too.
Yeah,
King
it could be
Scump.
Scump for that team.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
yeah,
He's
if they
playing
make a
really
run,
good.
they might fuck around and make a
If
run.
they make
Yeah.
a run, we might see Scump MVP. We'll see. It depends who wins, but I think, me personally, I think FaZe is gonna win, and I think Simp will get MVP. I agree with Asim. I think that kid's been an MVP for 3
Yep.
years.
Facts, he has been.
So we'll see. And I was watching his POV a little bit today, and dude, I don't know, bro.
My
Those-
God, huh?
My God, they're good. They're good. They're good players. They're fun to watch. And they're good kids too. They're good kids. So shout out to all those guys, man. Hey, shout out to Dallas Optic, Ultra, and FaZe. Congratulations to you guys for making the top 4. I think you guys have all played very good this weekend. I know that we have some choice words to say sometimes about these teams and kind of shit that they're doing, but that's also because we think very highly of these teams and we like to break it down and try and say what we think is needed for them to get to that next level. So if any of the players are watching or anybody ever watches and they're like, these guys are idiots, they don't know what they're talking about. Hey, everybody has their own opinions, but I think for the most part, we definitely think very highly of everybody on this list, and we just like to break down COD and try and call it as we see it, and try and be as realistic as possible as people who've been around for a while and know the game, or at least think we know the game. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. It's been an absolute blast, but Ben, I think it's fucking go time. I think it's
Yeah, let me go
time.
grab my putter for my bag.
Why do you
real quick.
never have your fucking putter out? You never
aren't you
fucking have this
prepared?
fucking
Come
thing.
on.
I thought about getting out before the show, but I forgot. My bad.
All right, go ahead. I'll go back to this screen. Over here. Boom. Fucking Ben. Look at him walk away with his slippers. Why doesn't he wear socks? I
At
don't
least he
understand.
tucks in his pants every time he walks away. You know.
Why is there a fucking penis in my chat? Guys, every day I look at my chat and I see fucking penises and titties. Can you guys stop with this fucking shit? What's wrong with you? And where the fuck are my mods? Because that penis is still lurking in the chat. It is still there. Do I need to fucking do it? Okay, let me switch monitors. Okay, it's gone. It's gone. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Whatever mod, whoever did that. Benji Nassim stepping up to the plate, ladies and gentlemen. He's got the putter in hand. He's got the short shorts on today. He's got the no socks on. Once again, no socks with his slippers going. He's gonna place his fucking ball on the green. He's gonna step into it. He's got the Michael Jordan shirt on. He's gonna line it up. He's gonna spot the hole, and he's gonna try and sink this one for the show today. And he's gonna sink the putt, ladies and gentlemen. Benji seems at a whole other level lately. He sinks every single putt. And I'm gonna
Ben
be
hasn't
honest,
missed a putt this entire major.
We drain putts, Tom. We drain putts.
You're draining putts, Benny. You're draining fucking putts.
Draining
putts. You're draining putts. What are you gonna do lately?
I see Adam in the chat betting against me to drain a putt. Come on, man.
Hey,
How could you ever do that, Ben? You're a champion.
Chat, whoever's doing the fucking predictions with the bits and shit, do not fuck it up. Make sure you pick the right thing.
I've actually lost full. I keep saying it, but I'm still fucking mind blown. 5 years of watching Tommy and collecting channel points. I lost it all because the mod fucked it
That's
up.
crazy. That's fucking nuts. It's
It's
fucking nuts. What are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna fucking do?
500K points, man.
Guys, make sure to
It hurts
show
my
Ben
heart.
some love. All right, drop a win in the chat, guys. Thank you so much for watching another episode of The Flank. I hope you guys have been enjoying. Hey, W or L, man, did you guys enjoy the show? I'm gonna take subscribers only off. I'm gonna turn it off. Give me a W or an L. Did you guys enjoy the show? I hope you guys have been enjoying this weekend of shows. I think we've been going really hard the last few days, and I think the shows have been incredible. And most importantly, I think just the colleague has been doing a great job with the event, and I've been having an absolute blast. And I was over there today, and they have a lot of people working really hard behind the scenes. So shout out to everybody that worked behind the scenes to get these events popping, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done to, you know, entertain you guys. So shout out to them. Shout out to Asum and Parasite for joining us today. I always appreciate you guys when you come on. I really enjoy you guys' presence. So thank you guys.
Appreciate you, dog.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, guys. Please follow the stream if you haven't already. Follow the stream. We're always in here playing games and shit. So I know a lot of you guys find me through the Call of Duty browsing games and shit, but you know, we play all kinds of shit. So make sure you follow the stream. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Go to anchor.fm/theflank to check out all audio sites we're on. Make sure to go follow everybody in here. And as always, guys, thank you for watching another episode of The Flank. We'll see you guys tomorrow for Champ Sunday after another set of matches. You guys already know the vibe, all right? Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.